Hi, I am Reese, and I am from the podcast Canadian Politics is Boring, and we have 60 seconds to hard sell you why you should listen to our comedy show. So, Jesse, have you got any reasons why they should check us out?
Absolutely not, but you told me to be more enthusiastic, so that's what I'm going to be.
It's got stories about funny politics in Canada,
Bear wrestling, aliens, alcoholics galore, seances with ghosts, dogs that are your mother, or the fact that Justin Trudeau's father might actually be Fidel Castro, or
not.
So are you driving to work, or are you on your bicycle listening to a podcast, or are you perhaps taking care of your children and you just really want to drown them out? Put us in your ear holes.
Search Canadian Politics is Boring on your favorite podcast app, or go to CanadianPoliticsIsBoring.com to check out our half-finished website.
Hey everyone, Chris Hansen here of Hansen vs. Predators and Catcher Predator. Why don't you have a seat right over there and listen to Kyle and Brandon, our podcast. According to my chat logs, Kyle and Brandon have interesting guests.
No, I hated it.
Yeah.
Everybody's sweaty, everybody's on drugs, so they're super sweaty but also touchy. And then they touch your face, then you leave there, and the next day you have pimples.
Fantastic conversation.
He's underground in a lab, floating in a tank of water because he almost died.
And most important, no predators.
Here at Intoxicated Reviews, we intellectually dissect the art of cinema, scene by scene. Here's some clips.
All he is, it's just a fucking big wooden doll full of cum, chasing kids around.
You look up guys who poop in a bag. Because I think that's where you'll find him. Because he is hurt.
It's probably just in your search history anyway, isn't it?
This movie fucking blows.
So don't forget to subscribe to Intoxicated Reviews on all places you find podcasts. Except Spotify. We're working on it.
Do not take product if you are hypersensitive.
Okay, Internet. Welcome back to the Intoxicated Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah McClellan, and if you're a brand new listener to the podcast, Intoxicated is a comedy variety talk show where I sit down and chat with comedians, creators, and characters. And if you're a returning listener, you might already know about the next Intoxicated live event. I am doing a live debates comedy show on Friday, September 18th at 9 p.m. at Oasis Pub on Spring Garden Road. This will be comedians going head-to-head to debate topics on stage with some stand-up sprinkled throughout. It is going to be a shit ton of fun, and you should come, because if you're in Halifax or nearby and you want to come out to support a local business, but also support live comedy, this is a great way to do it. Make a night out of it. Come out with your friends, get some drinks, get some appies. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be, slightly different from a standard comedy show. You're going to get to see comedians sort of debate things on the spot, and it's going to be interactive and a lot of fun. I will link in the description of the podcast to where you can go to get tickets. There are discounts available as well, so if you want to bring a friend or if you want to bring a couple of friends, tickets are cheaper. Tell your friends about the show. Come out and see me. Come out and say hi. I'm probably going to do a little bit of stand-up myself at the start of the show, so if you are interested in seeing that, that's your chance to see me do stand-up as well as host a debates show. So please come. Please, 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 please. This week's guest is a fellow comedy classmate of mine. That's what we're calling it, comedy classmates. Joel Franklin. He is a newer friend that I sort of just recently met. He started doing stand-up right when comedy started coming back, and I started soon thereafter. So by that standard, he and I are in the same comedy class. And oh my gosh, Joel is just such a great dude. This is a guy who's lived a lot of life experience, has a lot of really cool insight and stories. All around amazing guy. Really cool to have him on just where we're both at the same level and can both kind of be on this weird stand-up journey together. So, as always, if you are enjoying the podcast, please make sure you are following Intoxicated on social media, Facebook and Instagram at Intoxicated Podcast. Twitter is _Toxicated. Check out Patreon. It is patreon.com/Intoxicated. And I do want to give a big thank you to all the current patrons of the show. One thing that you get if you're Patreon is a 50% discount on live events. So, I mean, there you go. If you were thinking about joining anyway and maybe throwing some dollars my way, now might be a good time to do it because you will get 50% off a live show ticket. Give that a look if you're interested. Also, if you're digging the show, I can't tell you enough how much a rating or review matters in podcasting. It really, truly does. Reviews and downloads are the main thing that gets podcast charting, and I would love to be on the charts. So if you really love Intoxicated, leave an Apple Podcast rating or review. And of course, tell your friends and everyone you know and all your past sexual partners and your family. Well, maybe not your family, but tell a lot of people in your life about the podcast. I would greatly appreciate it. Even sharing on social media and tagging Intoxicated would be amazing. Anything like that will help me out. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode with Joel Franklin. All right. Because I know for me, like, I've had times with drinking specifically, where like I've just had to like stop because like I felt like I was using it as like a crutch because I was trying to fix issues in my life by just avoiding them by getting drunk. Like and then I would just like piss off all my friends and become a monster of a person when I would drink, but it was because I was so fucking sad and depressed. And that it just all came out when I was drinking. So now I don't usually drink if I'm in a really bad mood. I don't drink.
And that's what alcoholism really is. It's like with like alcoholism and addiction, like it's like you said, like it's you're trying to get away from something. So it's like it's more like alcohol and drugs are the symptom of your issues.
Yeah.
And it's about dealing with what's like
what's inside.
Exactly.
100%.
So yeah, the communities that I was a part of back in Winnipeg, like. So I got sober when I was 18. I went to rehab for cocaine and alcohol dependency, and went and moved into a halfway house in downtown Winnipeg with it housed at most 15 addicts at once.
Wow.
And yeah, it was really interesting. It's definitely gave me what's the word? Given me a lot of resilience for the houses I've lived in since.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Okay, we'll have to talk about that. So, well, let's just dive in because I just find it works best when we just dive in. I'm Joel Franklin, right?
Yes,
last name?
Joel Franklin.
To me, you're just Joel. Like I thought about it the other time, like Joel. I was like, what's his last name? Oh yeah, Franklin. Okay.
Yeah, and that's not my real last name. That's just
That's your comedy name.
Exactly.
That's what you'll go by on this.
Yeah,
podcast.
because if I'm gonna talk about really disturbing things from my past on stage, I really don't want to drag my family's name through the mud,
That's totally fair.
Yeah.
That's something that you got to think about when you do really personal dark stuff. Like you really got to think about those things. Welcome back everybody to the Intoxicated Podcast. I'm here with a new friend, a very new friend,
yes.
And a comedy classmate is what I would call you.
As we've defined ourselves, yes.
We have defined ourselves as the new crop.
Yeah.
The new crop of comedy here in Halifax. Joel Franklin is here.
Post-quarantine crop. Here we are.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. It's nice to be here.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, no, it's when we hung out that night and you told me that you wanted to come on, I was like, absolutely yes. Like, because you're someone, there's no bullshit with you. You like to have deep conversations, get to the nitty gritty. There's no stepping around anything, and that's the kind of person I like.
I can't have small talk. It's not something I'm good at. I catch myself at work sometimes mentioning the weather to people, and I'm like, this person must want to leave right away. It's
So how about that rain?
Yeah, it's like, nice day out there. Are you enjoying your walk?
How about that rain last night? That thunderstorm that just
Oh, yeah.
It was a pretty awesome thunderstorm in all fairness.
It's in my Instagram story for sure.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you were at a staff party last night.
Yes.
It's downpoured.
A staff party. It was a lot of fun. So we took a break from playing beer pong to go hang out in the rain for a bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
We in all fairness, Halifax did really need some rain. It's been a pretty rainless summer. It's been a really good summer for weather here. Like, I love how we're really talking about weather.
We don't really do small talk that much, but here's a 5-minute segment on the weather.
Yeah, no, it's been a wildly good summer in terms of weather. Like really nice days and really nice sunsets all the time.
Yeah, like Oh man, the best sunsets out here.
So nice.
Like whenever you can catch like that full like quilted effect from like the sun catching the clouds going across the sky. It's like one of my most favorite things.
I love a sky.
Yeah.
I take a lot of pictures of skies. I love a moody sky. I like dark skies too that look really pissed off.
Yeah.
Like, you know when you see a sky and it's like, that sky's pissed. I love that. I love skies. Oh, that's a weird thing to talk about.
I'll tell people though, like, other than my family, like the one thing I miss about the prairies is the prairie sky.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, the sunset goes on forever. It's like looking across the ocean, but it's cornfields going the other way.
Oh, that's really nice. I've never been. So you're from, where are you from?
Winnipeg.
Like where? A small town? Or?
No, Winnipeg, it's like a city of about 800,000 people.
Oh, you're in like Winnipeg. Like you're not on the outskirts.
No. I like grew up in a small neighborhood called, or actually, it's not that small. St. James is what it's called. Yes. And,
okay.
And then when I was 18, I moved to downtown, which is about a 20-minute drive from where I lived. And yeah, hung out and like I moved around a bunch over like the next 5 years there, but never moved out of like this like 2-block radius.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So did you like growing up there? I know that you have some jokes
about
it, but like
I love Winnipeg. It's doesn't have a great reputation.
Yeah. What's the reputation of it?
So Winnipeg and Dartmouth compete often for the stabbing capital of Canada. Yeah.
Winnipeg and Dartmouth.
Yeah.
Like it's a really big like you wouldn't normally put those two on the same. I don't know. That's wild.
It's pretty wild, but like my favorite people that I've met in Halifax are from Dartmouth.
Dartmouth has people, like, I feel like Dartmouth people aren't, you'll never meet someone from Dartmouth who's stuck up.
No, that's exactly it. There's no air of superiority from people in Dartmouth.
No, because they've seen it all. They've seen hookers at 12 noon, you know, just on the street, like.
That's Winnipeg. That's like the comparisons are endless.
Yeah. They're very similar.
Yeah, there's like a terrible bus system. If you don't own a car, it pretty much takes you an hour to get anywhere.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. Walk 2 blocks in one direction, you can end up in a terrible neighborhood.
Right.
Like the first time I ever got mugged, I was 13.
First time. Okay. Jesus.
Yeah.
Holy, you were 13 the first time you got mugged.
Yeah. It was actually my first time drinking as well.
What happened?
I was with some family, and we had walked some of my brother's friends home from my place where we were drinking, and I was too intoxicated. Yeah, there it is.
Name drop.
To find my way home, and so I went down the wrong back lane, realized my mistake, and then came back up to the top, and there was 2 guys waiting there, one with a baseball bat and the other unarmed. Yeah, it was pretty wild. The next thing I remember was like being on the ground, just like getting it in the
What
head.
the fuck?
It was
with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
So like they didn't have a knife or a gun or anything, but like they were beating you with the bat.
Yeah.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah, spent the night in the hospital, had a concussion.
Holy at 13.
Yeah.
And you've been mugged since then?
One other time. Yeah.
One other time.
Yeah, I was 19 or 18. It was like right after I moved downtown, and I was leaving a kickboxing class actually, and some guy asked me for the time, and I was like, yeah, sure. And I like pull out my watch, and then he's like pulls a knife and he's like, give me your watch. And
oh my god. Yeah. And you were like, yep, here you go.
I was like, there you go, man. It's like definitely not worth anything more than this.
And people who like argue with people who are mugging them or like challenge them, I don't understand where that comes from. Like that's a level of courage that I don't think I'll ever have in my life. Like
me neither.
That's wild.
Yeah, my some of my friends will be like, oh, Joel's like street smart, you know, he was like did a bunch of drugs when he was younger, and then like got mugged a few times, and I'm just like, I'm not street smart, I just know when to leave. That's my claim to fame. Yeah, I'll leave most situations if I feel uncomfortable.
Like you have good instincts in terms of like, is this a bad person or is this a bad situation for me to get the fuck out kind of thing. Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think that's like kind of saved you in past situations? Like, has there ever been a situation where you left and then like a bad thing happened and you were like, yep, I was right to leave?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. Like parties all the time would get like kids from other schools rolling up on them, and like the whole place would get bear maced, and then I'd be like off in the field somewhere with my friends. Just,
oh
like,
my God.
hanging out. Yeah.
You just totally avoided it.
I was like, you know what? Not tonight, guys. Let's go. And then.
Oh man.
Yeah. And you see like a bunch of sirens like down the street later.
Holy shit. Did you drink underage?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was 13 the first time I got mugged, and
13.
it was my first time drinking, like enough to get me drunk anyways. And yeah, I started doing drugs when I was 13 as well.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and then by the time I was 15, I could like walk into most vendors. Oh, in Winnipeg, we have this sweet thing called beer vendors. And so all the hotels, or most of like the divey hotels anyways, they have a beer vendor attached to them. And Vendor. Yeah, and it's just like, it's like, you know, the back of liquor stores here where they have like the freezer room kind of. It's like a store that's just that.
And you can go buy booze?
Just beer.
Just beer.
Yeah, and it's open until 2 a.m.
That sounds amazing. Why don't we have something like that here?
I feel like too many, like, apparently like back in the day here, like you could go down to Argyle Street and a lot of bars would have like $1 drink nights.
Yeah. Well, how old are you?
26.
Okay, how long have you been in Halifax?
Moved here in 2017.
Okay, because I talked with this with Michael in his episode, but 2007, 2008, that era of time here in Halifax, we had $1 drinks at the Dome.
Oh, no.
And at the time, there was like 3 bars. Like the Dome was 3 bars. So it was Cheers, Sky Bar, and the Attic.
Right.
And it was $1 drinks everywhere. And so fucking dangerous. Oh my God. I totally understand why they were like, yeah, no, we can't do this anymore because people are dying.
People are dying.
And
fights
like
are breaking out everywhere.
Alcohol poisoning all over the place. Like I had friends that would take out like $100 bill and like spend it all on $1 drinks. Like just because you would, not only would you like buy drinks for yourself, but they were $1. So you would buy your friends drinks. Exactly. You'd be like, hey, I'd buy everyone a vodka lime. Like,
yeah, and
like,
so when you have a town that's like full of university students, like away from home, like I was talking to someone from Toronto the other day, and they're like, "Yeah, when I first moved here, I didn't even consider this a real place. Like I'm just like from the big city, moving to Halifax, and like I could do whatever I want here." Mm-hmm. And I've met a lot of people with that attitude.
It's a university city, so it's like, yeah, our whole bar scene here is just pretty wild.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely adopted it into
you
my
like
life.
going out, eh?
I do.
Yeah. Well, you're 26. Like you're still in the prime.
Yeah, it's still appropriate for me to go to most places.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. What age do you think it's not?
I don't know.
I'm scared to hear it.
I don't know if it's an age. Maybe it's a feeling. You know?
Oh, that's fair.
Like sometimes I go to Martini Monday at the bitter end, and I definitely feel like I'm the oldest person drinking there.
Really?
Yeah, just like all like first and second year kids. Like
I would always think Martini. Well, no, you're probably right. I always think Martini Monday's more classy than like going to Boomers or going to Cheers or
yeah, it's definitely more classy than going to Boomers, that's for sure.
Boomers is pretty. I've only gone a couple times in all fairness. I shouldn't judge it too hard. And the times that I have gone, it was fun, but it was like, it did feel like a high school dance in a bar.
It's not somewhere I would start my night.
No. No, probably not.
People ask me to go to Boomers or the Ale House, and I'll just be like, sorry, I'm not drunk enough yet to say yes to that question.
I freaking hate the Ale House. Sorry if you are listening and you work there, or you know someone who works there, or you have good memories there. My only memories from the Ale House are like fucking being drunk on the dance floor, smelling fucking BO and farts, like, and these guys like drunk dudes just like coming up behind you and grinding on you. Like, I don't know. Those are my memories of the Ale House. Like, I don't have the best memories there. But I mean, I certainly went a lot back in the day. But like, I'm 33, so like my bar days are far gone behind me.
That's
so,
fair. I mean,
but
you still come to shows all the time.
I do, and I'm not opposed to going out. It's just going out is such an ordeal, especially for women, because it's like we got to figure out our outfit, we got to figure out what purse we're bringing, we got to figure out shoes, we got to figure out logistics. Like, are we cabbing? Are we pre-drinking? Are we going together? Are we meeting there? Like, there's a lot of logistics. I feel like with men, it's not that complicated, right? You're just like, meet me at this bar, or like.
I put together outfits for sure. You know.
Do you?
I have several pairs of shoes at home, and I wear fanny packs. You know.
You wear fanny packs?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So
I do appreciate a fanny pack.
They're fucking sweet, man. Like I just started wearing them this summer, and if you check out my Instagram, I have #FannyGang2020.
Fanny Gang 20.
Fanny Gang.
I want to
2020.
join that.
Yeah, please do. It's the cost of admission is a fanny pack. And,
and a picture tagging, making sure.
Yeah. It's
yeah. I like a fanny pack. I like a backpack. Like it feels like you can carry a lot in it, and like that you're not carrying around much. But yeah, no, going out is, I don't know. I think too, there was a time in my life that I lived downtown and it was just so much easier because you could walk everywhere. You didn't have to worry about cabs or like paying for cabs. Like really, truly a night out. Like if you want to have a real night out, it's pricey because there's drinks, cover, food after. You always get food after.
Yeah, because you got to go to Pizza Corner.
Grab
like an obscenely large Willie's poutine.
Oh, I really want Willie's poutine. Now you got me thinking about. I've been eating such shit lately.
My roommate's obsessed with Willie's. Every time we go out together and we like lose him, like you just be like, all right guys, Pizza Corner, like let's go find Dan.
Dan's a Willie's guy, okay.
Oh yeah. Dan is a Willie's guy.
Well, let's tie the strings together for everybody. So you work downtown at an establishment.
Yes.
I don't know if we can say, but you work somewhere connected to a place that does comedy.
Yeah,
shows.
I work somewhere where there's sometimes an open mic on Wednesdays. And I'm honestly sick of going up and having the host being like, he works here.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, guys. Like, I there's more to me than that.
Yeah, really, though.
And I'm about to say some pretty lewd things.
That's kind of, okay, so, I have a lot of questions about that. So, I think I met you, I don't know if I met you at Daily Grind. I might have met you either there or Economy Shoe Shop. I think we might have met there. I don't remember, but, like, I remember being there for your first couple sets, I think. Was your first set at Daily Grind?
Yep.
Okay,
like
I was there for it.
The first night at the Daily Grind?
Yeah.
That was my first set ever.
Okay, I want to know, and I know this is hack, everybody listening. any comics that aren't new listening are probably rolling their eyes at me. But listen, my stand-up journey is different than yours. And I'm curious as to, like, what was the first set like for you? Did you build it up in your head? Did you prepare a lot? Like...
Oh yeah.
What was the whole process?
So the way it started was one of the comedians that like runs most of the shows in the city.
Robbie Vino.
Robbie Vino.
Shout out to Robbie.
He lives above the Daily Grind and he comes in all the time. And I knew he was a comedian. And I'd been wanting to do improv actually.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Because I did improv back in middle school. But then loved partying too much in high school to try it out. Yeah.
Classic story.
I got kicked out of a band for like smoking too much weed. Yeah.
What did you play in the band?
Guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm terrible at guitar. I mostly just like played rhythm like along to like Chili Peppers songs where like we had like this sweet guitar player and yeah, but I was just like too baked at practice all the time.
Like, you're out.
It's like, you're out. And I'm like, all right, fine then, guys. Like, fuck you.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I was asking Robbie about it, getting in his ear, and then he started to get me to write a sketch for a show that he wants to do. And then one day he was just like, hey, we're doing comedy here. Do you want to be in it? I was like, fuck yeah. I'd been waiting like my whole life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is something that you have been
like
sort of on the back burner in the background thinking about doing?
Like my idols growing up were comedians. Like I loved Adam Sandler. Like I can sing most of his songs like verbatim. You know?
I love Adam Sandler. I mean, like I probably not to the same degree as you, but like for me, like Happy Gilmore is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Happy Gilmore is a great movie.
Yeah.
I love that. I feel like it doesn't get as much clout as Billy Madison.
Which I also love, but I also think I just haven't watched that movie or like rewatched that movie enough to like be obsessed with it as much as Happy Gilmore. Like Happy Gilmore, like there's just certain scenes in that movie I think about all the time. I love that movie so much.
Yeah, the price is wrong, Bob.
Yeah. Go to your home. Yeah. Why don't you go to your home?
Yeah. I love that movie so much. Like, or at the beginning when he has that, when he's like calling through the intercom to what he thinks is his girlfriend, and then that Asian lady comes up.
Yes.
in the morning. She's like, "Where are you going?" Like, "I made waffles."
I wanna kiss you all over. Yeah, I fucking love that movie. So Adam Sandler was an idol. Who else?
Big fan of, do you know John Doerr?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he was
I
like...
love John. I was such a crush on John Doerr.
Really?
Huge crush on him.
Has he ever been through town?
He has. So, was it last year I think he came here? Yeah, sometime last year he was here and did a show, and a couple of local comics like got to open for him and stuff, and
That's
I went.
So cool.
And I went and I had a wild experience because I brought... It was me and a friend, and we sat kind of closer to the front in a row that like only had, I think, 4 seats, and a guy sat beside me that was hammered.
Right.
And he started heckling John Doerr.
Okay, all right.
And John Doerr like looked at me on the stage and was like, did you come with this guy? And I'm like, no. Like, it was just such a... He handled it amazingely. Like, it was... unreal. And eventually the guy left, but it was quite the experience, like seeing John Doerr take down a heckler.
Oh yeah,
because it ended up being like probably a solid 5 minutes of just interacting with the heckler, but it was hilarious.
Yeah, of course,
because he's amazing.
He's super funny.
So wildly talented.
Yeah, my favorite joke of his is actually like, it's like a non-joke. He like has a guitar that he pulls on stage, and he's like this one is called I Hate Hitler, and then he like plays like this like really intense like song, and then like puts it down. He's like, "I'm not gonna lie, it needs words."
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah,
he's great.
He's so funny. Yeah. Will Ferrell was a big influence of mine growing up. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. But now I watch a lot of like Tom Segura.
Yeah.
And Anthony Jeselnik.
Uh-huh.
Those guys are where it's at for me. And then Dave Chappelle.
Of course.
He's king. Like,
of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Oddly enough, I've never watched the Dave Chappelle special.
Really?
And I think that is shameful, and I can't believe I just said it on my comedy podcast.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, I gotta do that. Where should I start with a Chappelle special? Like what?
Like, if you watch the show, like the Chappelle show?
No.
I would start, I don't know what they're called, but there's 2. There's one where he has like a yellow like short sleeve button down, and then there's one where he has like a blue and white short sleeve button down.
Okay.
And those 2 are from like the early 2000s, I think.
Okay.
And those are the ones that me and my friends quoted the most growing
up.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to fucking do it. You gotta. If you're doing comedy, you have to.
Anytime,
I think.
Because like Dave Chappelle, like now he's less of a comedian and more of just like a social advocate. Like his bits are more commentary.
I did watch the most recent special that he put on YouTube. I did watch that. That was pretty amazing.
He's intense, and so he just talks about things that like he experienced growing up. You know, he talks about like growing up in like a bad neighborhood. He talks about like the shit that him and his family dealt with because of race, and then he talks about like the current state of affairs,
which is great.
Yeah, it's like it's so awesome, and he just like skirts like these like intense issues, and he just like makes light of them, like which like a great comedian would do.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, he's cultivated like he's just one of the greats. Like, and I know that, even though like I haven't seen much of his stuff. Like I totally know that, and that's totally like on me for not fucking watching more of it. I gotta do it. So Robbie kind of talked you into it. Like, did you have like jokes planned for your first? Like, what was your whole thing?
What was my first bit? I talked about like getting hit as a kid.
Oh yeah.
Actually, like I brought my notebook with
me.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Let's see.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah, because I wrote it all down. I have this like jumbled mix of notes, and then so like this is like my first page of like writing jokes, and then let's see if it's in here. Come on.
I love it. I love seeing people's process with writing.
Oh, it's such a shit show. Like, it makes no sense. Oh, and there it is. Oh, yeah. I talked about, like, quarantine and, like, how I just started, like, drinking all the time. And, like, instead of calling, like, I would start drunk dialing people. And instead of calling my ex-girlfriends, like most people do, I just call my family.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. And I sometimes call my high school English teacher as well.
What?
Yeah.
Are you just like friends with?
Yeah, we're buds now.
Oh,
like,
that's amazing.
Yeah, first name basis. Yeah, it was super cool. Like, cause I was going through some hard times in high school, as is known, and he would just let me like come into his class like whenever, and just like we'd hang out at lunch and shit, and it was great.
Oh man, were you okay? There's no way to like ask this question in like a eloquent way.
Go for it.
Were you good in school? Were you smart? Like, or were you smart but you just didn't apply yourself?
Smart but didn't apply myself. Yeah. So I would like be good enough at a class to like not study for the exam, show up and like just know my average going into it, and just like know how much to like get on the exam, like finish half the booklet and then walk out and get a 50 in the class. And I was like, that's exactly what I want.
I feel that.
Yeah. And then I actually went to trade school to be an electrician, and applied myself and discovered that I was actually like pretty smart for my standards anyways, and went back to high school to get good enough grades to go to university. Yeah, so I was 22 and taking like grade 12 calculus again.
Is that like a GED thing, or
no, so
did you actually go back?
I had my degree, so I was taking. They're called adult ed courses. They were in like they were at night in a school for like delinquent kids.
Delinquent kids.
Yeah, so I never went there. I was like, I stayed out of trouble enough to be able to go to like regular high school, and but then I ended up going to, it's called Jameswood. It was like if someone went to Jameswood, you know that they were having a hard time, and I ended up going there when I was 22 and like taking calculus, chemistry, and English.
Did you going into that? Like, was that weird for you, like, going into something that already had this kind of judgment on it? As, like you said, like they're going through... Or were you just like, I'm better in my life, fuck it?
Like, yeah, that was exactly it.
Yeah.
I was working 2 full-time jobs. I was a server at, like, 2 neighboring restaurants back in Winnipeg, and... I was just like, yeah, I'm sick of this. Like, I don't want to work in restaurants for the rest of my life. And went back to school, and I was like proud of myself.
Good.
Yeah.
And that's good.
It was actually pretty sweet. My oldest friend happened to be in the calculus class. Like, we hadn't talked in like a couple of years.
Oh, wow.
And like, I show up one day, and he's just like hanging out in class, and I'm like, what are you doing here, Devin? He's like,
Devin.
Yeah, Devin.
That's wild. It's wild how life brings you back to certain people.
Definitely. And
like,
yeah, he was like, we've known each other since I was like 3 or 4.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's it. That type of bond of like knowing someone. Like I have a friend who literally like our moms were pregnant together. Like that's how we met.
Yeah.
We met in the womb. Like, and grew up across the street. And like we're still friends in social media and like check in every now and then. It's just wild. Like how, like, I don't know. It's just an unbreakable bond, I think.
Yeah.
When you know someone that long, you stay in touch. Even though it might not be like, you don't talk every day, or maybe you're not even that close, but still, it's still really cool.
Yeah, I saw this thing on Instagram the other day where it's like, true friendship is when you can go a long period without talking, and when you talk again, no one questions the length of time. You know,
Yep.
It's just, you pick
So
up
true.
and it's fine.
So true. And there's definitely those, and there's a reason you met those people, I think. For
Yeah.
me, it was like a lot of like the college friends I met, I found like, I'm like, okay, these are people that are going to be with me for life kind of thing. Like that era of my life. But friendship is weird, especially at this age. Like I'm 33 and like I'm just like, everyone's off building their own lives and it feels very lonely sometimes.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Like, every time I'm on a dating app, like all these like women that I match with, like their lives are so much more put together than mine, and they're like...
Do you think they are though? Or do you think that they're just like, they're only showing you the good stuff?
Maybe. I just like, they always like, they have these degrees, like a lot of them, like a lot of the ones I matched with recently are like going into grad school or law or something like that.
Yeah,
and they're like,
I know.
And what are you doing? And I'm just like, oh, I'm like a few years older than them. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
second year of my bachelor degree. You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, and it's really hard not to like judge your life based on other people. That's like a constant struggle for humans, I think. And I totally get that. Like I'm the same way. Like right now I'm not working and I feel like a piece of garbage because I'm like, how am I on these apps like looking for a guy with his shit together and a good job? And like why would I expect that of someone when I'm not there? And I try to explain that to people and people are still like, no, you should still have standards. And I was like, yeah, but I also think that that's a big sign that I gotta focus on just getting my shit together and then maybe I look for a partner. Or maybe I just, whatever happens, happens. And if one person comes along, they come along.
That's sort of like your joke, you know, like
Yes.
one that we were working on yesterday.
Yeah, it went over good last night. By
Did
the
it?
way.
I was gonna ask. That's great.
I'm curious as to like thing that's good about these open mics is like you do get to test it on like really small crowds, and that's a really good indication of like whether or not it's going to work overall, I think.
And like with open mics too, it's mostly comedians that show up as well. So like if you can make a room full of comedians laugh, then you know you're doing something right.
Yeah, it was interesting. I listened to it back, and especially the part where I say ugly horse-faced whore. I heard Chris Aleph let out a big ha in the back. Like I heard his ha so clearly, like on my fucking audio recording on my phone. I was like, oh, okay.
That's great. So that went over well too. You didn't get shot.
I didn't get shot. That's so funny. Oh my God. Actually, we showed up and there was no audience.
Yeah. Well, I came in with you, remember?
Oh yeah, you did. That's right.
I just I got distracted because I ran into an old friend.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, before a show, I'm truly in a weird zone. Like I like it's kind of like I don't want to be talked to. Right before I go up, I'm like, after I'm done, all bets are off. I'm gonna fucking talk to everybody and love the show and go watch the show and stuff. But man, when I'm especially last night where it was like 2 new jokes that like I hardly practiced, I was like just very narrow-minded. But then I was also like, I'm okay if this show gets canceled. I'm all right if it like it was this weird moment of like, if there's no crowd here, I'm okay if it doesn't go through.
Yeah, exactly. And like it was so funny, like when we were hanging out earlier, like you invited Tom and I over to like workshop your jokes, and then for the last like half an hour you're just like sitting there like just...
I felt bad about that because I was like, this isn't a true writer session. This is Sarah's stressed about stuff. But I do think that we should get together again, like when there's no shows and like we can just hang out and like just shoot the shit about everything. Yeah. Like when there's no pressure.
Yeah.
I guess would be a good. But pressure's good sometimes, I find.
It can make you do interesting things, like pressure. Like I'm the kind of student that will never do anything on time. Like I'm always doing things last minute.
Procrastinator.
And sometimes like I get like really good grades on the things that I like hand in last minute, but they're just like moments of creativity, you know?
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. I think I work better under pressure, honestly. I'll be a nightmare, but but I'll get it done.
Yeah, it's
it'll be a shit show, but I will get it done.
Yeah, there's lots of things you can do to like trick your body into like doing different functions. Like if you don't sleep very much or if you don't eat very much, you sort of like put yourself into this like state of like fight or flight, even though you're not in any like danger or anything like that. And so it like changes your thought process a little bit. I know that like days when I'm writing and I haven't had anything to eat are much different than days where I'm writing and I'm like have a full stomach.
Is it better?
Different.
It's just different.
Yeah. Well, normally like the less lucid I am, like the less cohesive my brain works, like the more interesting things come out. And then when I reflect on it later on, I can like readjust it with like my sober mind.
That's actually that would be a good way to do it. Like spill things out. And like, have you developed sort of a joke writing process yet in terms of like how things like, because I was talking last night about like how I'm like I put it in the phone, I write it out in my joke book, but then I also write on a cue card, and that's usually the version that I practice. And then usually what ends up happening is, it'll go from phone to notebook to cue card, sometimes a whiteboard over there.
I see that. Big personality. I love that joke.
When I'm practicing at home, that's what I use. I love the big personality. And I think it's a favorite amongst a lot of people. They're like, oh, I really like that. I was like, sweet. Yeah. But yeah, no, like I have a whole process. Do you have is it just the notebook or?
I have a notepad that I carry around sometimes, but the dog got at it recently, so it's got a couple pages missing. Well, he's too cute to stay mad at.
Can I see a picture of this dog?
Yeah, his name.
I think Michael was telling me about your dog yesterday. And
yeah, his name's Reggie. He's my roommate's dog. He's a little bit of a monster. Let's see, where do I have photos of him?
I love seeing doggo pictures.
He's so cute. He's
And he gets along with the cat, okay? Not really?
They used to fight a lot more. Like it was like watching like Archie like gets on his hind legs like a bear, and then like Reggie sort of like shoots in at him, and it was pretty cute. But they've sort of like Archie started going outside for a while, and he kind of got over it.
Right.
But here he is.
Oh my gosh, he's a tiny little guy.
Yeah, he's
okay, I love that dog. That's like a Toto dog.
He's a Yorkie, Pomeranian Terrier mix.
Okay, I make note of that, Sarah. I honestly, like, when I think about the kind of dog I want like small to medium sized, scruffy. Like, he looks like a Toto dog. He looks like Toto from Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, you can fit him in a picnic basket, no problem.
Oh, I want a little terrier. So cute.
Yeah, and it works out because he's the same size as the cat. So, like, because, like, he was a puppy for, like, most of the time that we've been living there. If it was, like, a bigger dog, I feel like my cat would have been, like, destroyed. Like,
I get nervous about stuff like that. Especially because it's like, when you're introducing a new pet, like, you don't want your old pet to, like, be pissed at you for bringing this other creature in.
Right? And Archie's moved around so much since I've had him. Like, I got him back in Winnipeg from like this foster agency for cats, I guess. And I'm actually still friends with the woman that I got him from. We were chatting earlier today, and he was homeless for 3 years, and he came in because he'd like been like in a big scrap with some other animal.
Oh.
And so I took him into my apartment there, and then I gave him to a mutual friend to look after while when I moved here, because I couldn't drive with him out here. I drove here, and then I flew him here, and then he lived in a place in the North End, and then he's lived with me in another apartment in the North End, another person's house, and then now we finally.
Wow. So he moves around okay though.
Yeah, he adjusts quickly.
Gets used to it,
yeah, except for right now because he has diabetes, so he has to like be inside all the time. He's not allowed out anymore because I have to be able to like keep him on a schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, and that's a whole new adjustment for you.
Yeah, it's well, because you get.
But you want to know what? Okay, this is what I appreciate about what you're going through, because you see, and I haven't guessed your star sign yet. Don't tell me, because I'm gonna guess at the end.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do what Michael wanted to do on his episode, but I actually creeped his star sign beforehand and ruined the whole thing.
I don't post my birthday on Instagram.
Oh, you don't?
No, you wouldn't have been able to creep me. Anyways.
What about on Facebook?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to guess throughout this interview,
Okay.
but like I appreciate that you seem to be. This is an assumption I have about you.
Okay.
Are you someone who's like, are you on the go a lot?
Constantly.
And you're very social. You're kind of a little bit of a partier.
Yeah.
What I appreciate about this is no matter what, you're like, I gotta go feed my cat. Like the cat is on your priority list, and I appreciate that. Like, as annoying as it is for you, I appreciate that you're still a good cat owner who's like, yeah, no, I gotta go feed my cat. Like, I gotta give him the insulin. Like,
yeah, it's I've been like trying to plan things for the fall coming up, like being in school and then like dropping the amount of shifts and trying to manage comedy into all this. And, I was thinking about taking a wine course because if my Rosé All Day shirt and box of wine that I brought with me didn't give it away. I love wine.
I didn't notice that.
That's pretty sweet. I got it from a work event one time.
That's hilarious.
Rosé
All Day.
Yeah, so I had to decide not to do a couple things because I need to be there for him.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah, well, he's
good
like,
cat daddy.
I try. You know, I wake up every morning and he usually like uses his litter box too much at night and then starts going on the floor beside it. And so every morning I wake up and I clean cat piss and sometimes cat shit.
It is a humbling moment when you're like, I love you so goddamn much that this is what I'm doing. Like, it really, I think that cats aren't intense as dogs in terms of like prepping you for parenthood, but there is an element of it that is kind of like prepping you for parenthood.
Well, like sometimes I see my father and myself in the morning when I'm like really tired and he's like meowing at me for food and I like yell at him. I'm just like, can you please stop right now? And I'm just like,
oh, don't you hate it when those things come out? Yeah, I've felt that too.
But yeah, I mean, animals are great, like for teaching you how to like give love and not expect it back. You know,
yes.
I feel like that's an important lesson. Not that you should be like giving of yourself all the time without getting anything in return.
Don't be a love addict.
Yeah, but it's sort of like I'm sure you get it, like where you feed your cat, you pet it, and then it just like fucks off.
Right,
you know?
exactly. Yes. And then it makes those moments that when they do cuddle you and like show love to you, it makes them more special. Because you're like, you must really love me. Like if you've been annoyed most of the time.
Exactly.
And now you're taking the time to do it. You must love me back too. Because I do think, especially cats, like I think there's a stigma on cats that like they don't show emotion. I'm like, that's not fucking true at all. I think cats do show it. They just show it in different ways.
Exactly. Like, you know, like cats apparently have like something like 30 different tones of meow.
Yes, I've heard about this.
Yeah, so like they know how to communicate and they're good at it, but we just don't understand it and like we don't see it.
The meows that she makes, like if she's caught a mouse, and usually what happens when she catches a mouse and I find the mouse is I get upset and I start screaming, and she'll run away. But then I'll come find her, and she does this meow that's like, "Aren't you proud of me?" like she does this meow that's just like, but I caught that for you.
Yeah.
Like,
do you not appreciate my hard work, Mom?
And it's a different kind of meow. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I truly, it's wild. I mean, she hardly ever meows though. She's a very quiet cat. But like if she wants food or something, she'll meow.
She's a unit too.
Yeah,
like,
she is, little chunker.
Thick. I love it.
She's been up and down with her weight though. It's weird because like there was a certain time that like people were like, your cat's fat, so I cut down her food a bit. Like I didn't give her as much because I give her wet food and dry food.
Okay.
She grazes on the dry, and then I give her the wet at night. And because I give her the wet food because it's like her treat. Like she looks forward to it all day. Like the cat fucking lives in this apartment. Like just give it some joy.
Right.
And I cut down the food and she lost weight. And then people were like, your cat's too fucking skinny. And I was like, okay, I'll go back to giving her a bit more. And now she's chunkier again.
Blew
and I'm
up
like,
again.
Fuck.
Archie's the same.
This is as stressful as like maintaining my own weight. Now I have to worry about my cat's weight. Jesus.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so bad at taking care of myself. Like,
oh, me too.
I'm the worst. Like I mentioned earlier, like I had 2 eggs to eat today. Like that was it. Like
I feel like you and I are similar. So are you someone who forgets to eat?
Yeah, constantly. Yeah. I'm 190 pounds right now. It's probably like the latest I've been since I was a teenager. And it's like not because I'm like doing drugs or like anything like that. It's just like I just forget to eat. I'm so busy. Like I wake up in the morning, I go to work, I cook there as well. So I'm like working with food, and it just doesn't like make me hungry to do it.
Right.
And then I get home and then I get ready for a show and then like feed my cat and then head out, and then I finally get home at the end of the night and I'm just like like depending on like if I have like 1 or 2 drinks and I'm drunk, I'm like I did not eat today. Like I
Oh yeah, you can feel it right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as you start getting booze in you, you're like, "Oh, yeah, whoopsies." Yeah, no, I'm the same. It's usually the last thing on my list, even though it should be the first. Finding a balance, like something I talk about a lot on the podcast, like between all the aspects of your life is really hard. I still don't know anyone who has it down. Like I know a lot of people who work and do comedy every now and then. And they manage it quite well.
Right.
But it's the people who do it regularly, like I would say like on a weekly basis, or they try to. Plus they work. Plus they probably have like life things they have to do, cats they gotta feed, or you know, whatever. Like it's just like all these components. And it's like we often forget that like it would be really nice to ourselves to like take an extra 2 hours to like make a really nice meal and just like sit and like enjoy a really nice meal. It's so easy to just like let that go.
If I have the night off or like I'm not doing anything, I will sometimes make myself like a big portion of rice and beans.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So
love some rice and beans.
Yeah, you know, you
so easy.
Cook it in like vegetable or beef stock to give it some flavor. I use a bunch of Indian spices. That's like we have a bunch of that at home. Yeah, and then add beans afterwards for like protein, and because I don't really buy a lot of meat. I'm not a vegetarian, but I try not to eat.
That's good. That's actually like I think more people should be like that.
Yeah, like I'll always order meat at a restaurant, or like if I'm getting a pizza, like I love bacon on pizza, you know.
Oh yes, bacon and steak.
Like you ordered a pizza here yesterday.
Yeah, wasn't it good?
It was delicious. And then I went to that staff party and they ordered pizza there, and I had pepperoni pizza twice yesterday.
Oh, I love it.
It was great. I actually have a tattoo of pizza on my leg.
Do you really?
It was my first one.
Is it your favorite food?
Yeah. Definitely. Pizza addict for life. I posted recently a video of myself on Instagram from like 4 years ago when I used to be into weightlifting. And I was 70 pounds heavier than I am now. And I put it on my story as well. And I'm like, for those of you that have asked me in person, like, yes, this is me from 4 years ago after too many protein shakes. And my buddy messages me about it right away. And he's like, little pizza heaven built that body, Joel.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He called me out.
What's your favorite place here in Halifax?
In Halifax? Sal's.
Yeah, so good.
Hands down, Sal's.
Haven't been in a while. Gotta go.
Ronaldo's is a close second.
Oh, yeah.
But I haven't tried Piazza yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I like Salvatore's too. I also like Morris East. But that's like fancy pizza.
Okay.
But I also think Salvatore's is kind of more fancy pizza. What about bare basic bitch pizza? Like what do we?
Freeman's.
Oh, interesting.
Well, Freeman's is just so reliable. You know, they're open and I think they do delivery until 4.
It is one of the most reliable places here in Halifax in terms of late night food that's like like it's usually consistently really good. Although they changed their monster sticks and that pissed me off. They used to be better, but whatever.
Yeah, well, whatever. You know, at least their garlic fingers are okay. Still.
Oh, so yum. I need to find the best garlic fingers in Halifax. I feel like there's so many good ones, but I want to do like a garlic finger showdown somehow.
Garlic fingers is just like a pizza crust, garlic butter, and cheese. So if you find you'd have to factor in they use the same pizza crust that they use for their pizzas. So you'd have to get somewhere that you trust their crust. You'd have to find somewhere that makes proper garlic butter, and then somewhere that uses different types of cheese.
For me, where people skimp with garlic fingers is the garlic. There's so many places who are really good with the cheese.
Yeah.
But it's just not the right ratio. There's a place in Antigonish. So I'm from Antigonish, which is 2 hours away.
Yeah, where St. FX is.
Where St. FX is. And there's a place called The Wheel. And they are known for their pizza because it's just so wildly different. It is it's like a sweeter crust. It's sweeter and it's not crispy. It's soft.
Okay.
And you got a good crust but the base is thin. So it's kind of it's kind of like New York style pizza, but then they overload it with toppings.
Fuck yeah.
So it's a shit ton of cheese, and I'm pretty sure they use different kinds of cheese. Not just mozzarella. I'm thinking that there's provolone in there too. All the meat is under the cheese.
Yes.
Which I don't mind. I know people hate on it. I don't mind it.
Smart.
I like it. I like it. And they have unbelievable garlic fingers. They do really good garlic fingers there.
The way you should make a pizza is you should treat each ingredient on because when you're cooking it, you're trying to get the crust cooked all the way through. Right?
Yeah.
That's the goal. You put it in, it takes 20 minutes because the crust takes the longest.
Yeah.
And then every topping on top of the crust has different cook times. So at Sal's, they treat their pizzas like that. And so every ingredient that they put on a pizza, they pull out the pizza from the oven, add it at different points of the cook.
Oh yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
I gotta go back there.
Oh yeah,
that's gonna be on my list.
They're Salvatore's is not paying me to talk about them on this podcast.
But Salvatore, shout out to Salvatore's. If you're in Halifax, go check out Salvatore's Pizza in the North End. Yeah. North End, right? Yeah.
Young Street.
Yeah, Young Street.
That's the spot.
And it's actually a really great. Do they deliver?
They do.
They do deliver, and also just a great place to go if you're go out for some pizza.
Yeah, try their ham
fun.
Hero as well. They make a really great sub. It's
I've heard about this meatball hero
deadly.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something you have to get in store though. Don't get it delivered.
What's a hero when people say it's a hero?
It's a sub.
It's just a sub. Okay, there's no special thing about it.
Normally it's cooked as well, so it's toasted and then the cheese is melted on it and such. And it's spelled Gyro.
Oh, yum,
or that's
yum,
the proper Greek spelling of it. I know some people actually just put hero on it.
Oh yes, okay.
But, yeah, if you ever see something and you're like gyro, it's hero.
Hero. Oh my god, that's interesting. Are you Greek?
No, I just know a lot.
Greek?
I've been a cook for a long time, so I know a lot of different things about food.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that. Oh, I'm fucking hungry now.
Yeah, my 2 roommates and I, we all met working at the Bicycle Thief.
Nice. Okay, that makes sense. When did you work there?
I worked at the Bicycle Thief in 2018 up until February of 2019.
Got you. Okay, I had a friend who worked there before that.
Okay.
I've only been a couple times, and it was for my boss taking out.
Yeah, you wouldn't. It's hard to afford.
I know, but I do think, as much of a broke hoe as I am, it's very nice to go out for a nice dinner sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And just treat yourself. Don't make a habit of it if you can't afford it. But one of my favorite places to go is Amano.
Yeah, right across the street from my spot.
Holy shit, the food there is so fucking good.
They have they have a whole section dedicated to pizza in the kitchen.
Whole pizza section. They have this like tortellini that has like prosciutto in it.
Never been. I've only.
Oh boy, it's so fucking. Listen, men, if you ever want to take me on a date, that's where you gotta take me.
Take Sarah McClellan to Mono's if you want to go on a date.
That's the only, and I know I've said before in the podcast that I don't eat on dates, and I'm still mostly sticking to that. But that is my exception.
Go to a Mono, order a bottle of wine, get a charcuterie board, and then a pizza. That's
pizza. That would be perfect.
That's
ideal. The charcuterie board. Oh, love it. I love how we're just talking about food so much now. Let's get fucking back into life stuff.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, like, you've had quite a life, I feel like. I feel like even if we do this episode, we're only going to scrape the surface of it.
Yeah, we can do more.
So, like, you said that you started drinking, doing drugs really young, like 13 and stuff. Like, when did things get bad for you where you were like, oh, this is an issue? Like, this is a real problem?
The fact that like it was like natural for me to start doing coke when I was 15 is definitely like a big red flag. But I guess
I'd say, Jesus,
it got bad at some points. Like there'd be times where like either I wouldn't feel comfortable going home or like things would be too like tense for me to like enjoy like being there, so I would just like not go back.
Right.
And I'd hang out with drug dealers, so I'd be like if anyone's familiar with Winnipeg, like the north end of Winnipeg is like pretty sketchy neighborhood, and I'd be like hanging out with drug dealers and like driving them around and like going to these like really sketchy spots, and I'd like get out of the van if there's like fights or something like that, and I'd end up in these like crazy drug dens, and like prostitutes were always in the back seat.
God.
It was pretty gross. And that was pretty close to bottom for me. And that was like a couple months before I ended up going to rehab. And what actually brought that on was I'd thrown a party at my mom's place, and 200 people ended up showing up. Like I didn't.
Holy shit!
Yeah. Well, actually, my mom remarried and moved to a nice neighborhood. It's like a gated community and or fenced in. Really, there's no gate to get in. And so I would often throw parties there because it was so much bigger and nicer than like what we had in St. James. And one time, like this last party, 200 people showed up. I invited a few drug dealers, and someone ended up pulling a gun on my brother when he showed up to like break up the party.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, it was he tells the story much better than I do.
My God.
The SWAT team showed up, and like it was intense. They were asking, they're like, all right, who's in charge here? And I was like, I just turned 18. I was wasted. And I was like, I'm in charge. Like, I got this. And they're like, no, can we please speak to a real adult?
And you're like, I resent that.
And I was like, you don't think I'm a man? Whip off my shirt. And I'm like, in the process of taking my pants off to like present my manhood to them.
Oh my God!
My brother throws me on the ground. And like, they're just like, thank you. It's like, so clearly you're in charge here.
Oh
and then,
my God.
Yeah.
SWAT team. Like, how many people are we talking?
I don't know. There was at least 2 in my front door with like their like automatic weapon and like their like little flash grenades and stuff.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was intense. And then it wasn't even after that I got sober. Like they sent me back the next day to clean up, but left me alone, and there was so much like half empties. I like blacked out before noon, and they found me at the bar I was working at that night, like harassing my manager so I could like go get my tip money to go get drugs.
Oh my God. So that was, would you call that rock bottom? Or like your...
Yeah, my version of it. I mean, like, there was many times before then that were probably like a little bit more detrimental to my well-being that I probably could have capitalized on to make a change in my life, but I just wasn't ready. And it was like with the support of my family, it was because other people were being affected by it. Like, very apparently was when I like decided I'm like, right.
That's usually when it kicks in for people, I feel. When like, and it's specifically people like you care about. You know? Like, when you hurt someone you care about because of it or something.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's my big brother. He like my parents both did shift work a lot growing up and were very like ambitious, and like my dad was a firefighter, so he was,
wow.
Yeah, he was the fire captain of a station in the neighborhood that we lived in. And then my mom was an X-ray tech for many years, and then like went back to...
Whoa! Okay, have you seen King of Staten Island?
King of Staten Island? No, I've not.
It's a Pete Davidson movie,
Okay.
and in it he's like a dude
I've
whose
seen
dad
it.
is a firefighter, and maybe
His
I thought
dad died in... So Pete Davidson in real life, his dad died in 9/11.
He did. That's crazy.
Yeah, and so he pretty much plays himself in King of Staten Island.
Although they didn't mention 9/11 at all in the movie.
Okay.
But like I think the mom in it works at a hospital. So when you said that, I was like, oh whoa, like your life's just like Pete Davidson.
Yeah, and my dad's dead too. You know.
Oh my god, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. He's like, he was an angry guy growing up, like in my younger years, until like my parents divorced. And then he became like pretty cool actually. So like I talk about like him being a dick in some of my sets, but that was just like, man, he's just like struggling, I guess, and like. I'm super annoying.
Right. Well, no parent's perfect. And like I think that's something like in adulthood you start to realize more. Because when you're young, you like kind of resent them a little bit. But when you're older, you're just like, oh, like when you start realizing how hard adult life is, you're like, they were just trying their fucking best and dealing with it the best they can. And sometimes it really fucking sucked. But at the end of the day,
that's what I mean. Like when I'm yelling at my cat in the morning, I'm just like, fuck. Like I'm like not being patient enough, you know?
Yeah.
But we were super tight, like my later years, like after I got sober, or in his later years rather.
Right.
Yeah, after I got sober, he's like one of my best friends. Like we talked about everything, you know. He like told me about his run-in with drugs when he was younger, and we just like related to each other so well. But yeah, like going back to like joking about him being dead, like he had the darkest humor. Like I definitely attribute like my sense of humor to like how
him.
Yeah, because he would like come back from a shift where like he'd try to resuscitate someone and like they wouldn't make it, and he'd like tell us about it, you know. He'd be like, so I went to go deal with like this, like some person had fallen or like whatever, and he like tried to like do CPR on them, and it didn't work, and I'd be like, shit, it's like that sucks, you know. There's this kid, Michael Commenda, there's a skate park named after him, and he was working the shift after the crew that went to go like this kid, Michael Commenda, he was skateboarding on top of the football stadium. Like him and his friends had like snuck on top of it and were like doing tricks and stuff, and the kid fell from on top of the football stadium. Like
fell off the roof?
Yep. And like it must have been like 10 stories to like the ground, and he described like them picking him up because they used a shovel to scrape him off the ground.
Yeah, stuff like that. We don't realize how bad it is for those like people like firefighters, like police officers. They've seen fucking shit.
Yeah.
Like ambulance workers, like just the amount of shit that they've seen that they have to then process at the end of the day. Like they just gotta come home like a normal person at the end of the day and then sit with like what they did that day. Yeah. It's certainly not what most of us do.
Exactly. And, like,
Jesus.
He has this one story where him and his crew like went to a call because the neighbors had called about a smell from the house next door.
Oh no, dead body.
It gets better. And they go in and they see this guy, and he's like slumped over on his kitchen table, and they can see that the back of his head is rotting and there's maggots in it. And they're just like, oh shit, like a dead body, like good thing the neighbors called. And they like go to like walk up to the body, and the dude's arm goes into the back of his head, pulls the maggot off, eats it, washes it down with beer. So
he was alive?
He was alive. He had gotten
what?
He had gotten brain surgery, and he wasn't tending to his wound properly, or no one was looking after him. So it just started to rot, and he just like eventually started developing like maggots in there because flies were getting at him. And
I might have to put a warning on this episode. That's fucking wild. What the fuck?
Yeah, so those are the types of things we talked about at home.
You're like, this was just my life, my childhood growing up.
Yeah, you're so shocked, but to me, I'm just like, cool.
Oh my god, that's insane. How did you process that as a young kid? Like,
I don't know. It's just like I told people about it a lot too. Like I love telling that story to people.
Did you get desensitized?
Definitely. Yeah. It was just dinner talk, you know, you'd hang out and chat about things, and like my brother and I were like wild childs for sure. So we did a lot of fucked up shit as kids, and so we'd like be telling our dad like these crazy stories, and then he would tell us his stories, you know. And
right, he'd like one up you
every time. Yeah.
Where are you in the family? You have a brother? Do you have any other siblings or?
Yeah, I have a brother, a sister, and 2 stepsisters.
So where are you at?
I'm the youngest, bottom of the totem pole.
I kind of could have predicted. I don't know why I thought I could predict that, but I feel like I could have. I don't know. I feel like the youngest people are like a little more rebellious, a little more. I don't know what it is, because I'm certainly that in my family too.
Yeah, it made like misbehaving as a teenager much easier, because like my sister had like probably like the most like prototypical upbringing out of all of us, you know, like she's like top of her class in a lot of things. She graduated a year early, like ballet dancer, like really.
Oh wow, like A-type.
Very much so. And then Cameron is a little bit more of like a mixture, you know, like he's very responsible. He's got like a great moral compass, and but like he like loves getting in, like loves like seeing crazy things, and would always like go out and party with his friends. And then there was me, who had like almost no inhibition growing up, and would just do whatever, say whatever, and like no situation was too uncomfortable for me.
Whoa, yeah, that's wild. Yeah. But you had a good moral compass too, eh? Like, I mean, like, I think despite all the shit, like, you probably did have a good sense of right and wrong, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like on the times where like I'd share a crazy story with my dad, like I would be misbehaving at school, and I'd think it was hilarious, and I'd get home and tell him about it later, and he'd be like, listen, he's like, even though it's fun, like it's fun for you, but not fun for everyone else.
Right.
You know, and he taught me a lot about like discipline, you know.
Yeah.
He's like having discipline is when you're the person watching yourself, making sure you're not doing anything wrong, you know, because like I would never misbehave under the watchful eye of like authority.
Yes.
You know? But when I was allowed, like when I was out of anyone's eyesight, I would like always get into shit. And so he's like, yeah, discipline is when you're the person watching yourself, making sure you don't get into any trouble.
And a lot of people don't find that until later in life, like, is the thing. Like, where it's like, I've had moments where it's felt like there's a floating Sarah watching, like, watching me be an idiot. Yeah. Like, but like, I do think that's not really taught to people at a young age. Oddly enough, it's usually just do what you're told, and it might be different nowadays. I don't fucking know. But like, and I don't have the slightest idea how to be a parent. Like, I truly, I don't know how people do it.
I would be a terrible parent at this point in my life.
At this point, yeah. Do you want kids? Do you know? Or?
One day.
Yeah, one day. Yeah.
But like, I'd like to be finished my degree when they come around.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'd like to be a little bit more like stable, like financially and emotionally.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. We often forget about that emotional part.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't want a kid to like be afraid of me coming home, you know?
Right. Did your parents ever pressure, like, did your dad ever pressure you into like being a firefighter, or like, do they have any expectations on you as to like what you should do with life, or?
Not really. I've been a few things since I've been an adult. So I've been an electrician. I've done social work. I've been a cook. I've been a server.
Whoa, yeah. Jack of all trades.
Yeah, I've done a lot of stuff. And my parents are always really supportive of me no matter what path I choose. But I remember when I told my parents that I didn't want to be an electrician anymore and that I wanted to go to university, they were like, thank God. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah. So they like weren't going to like steer me down any different path, but they were like quite relieved to find out I didn't want to be a tradesman.
Really? Yeah. See, I find tradesman, like, that's like one of the most stable things you could do.
Yeah. Well,
nowadays.
Well, my brother, he's a plumber, and like he works at he's like his title sounds so much more official than I'm about to describe it as. He's like the handyman for the hospital, you know? Like,
nice.
He's like, he does maintenance, and so he's the lead hand is what it is. There you go. Lead hand at the Stonewall Hospital. And then he's the plumber for the whole health region that he's in. So if there's ever like something that needs fixed at a different hospital than his, they'll like fly him out to like a different community to like fix the thing.
Oh wow. Well, he must always be busy. I mean, I imagine there's a lot of fucking work in that.
He's got a kid. He's got a daughter and then 2 stepchildren.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so he's very responsible. Cameron was born to be a dad, though. Like, as I was mentioning earlier, like my parents were really busy a lot growing up and had a hard time keeping track of me. Well, it wasn't just that. Like, I'm just like a hard person to keep track of. But my brother knew where I was most of the time and would come and find me and like bring me back home, or like discipline me if I was being a bit of a dick. Like, I remember one time I'd snuck out and it was like 3 a.m. and he found me like walking down some street in St. James and like captured me and like brought me back home.
Oh wow.
Without my dad telling him to do that. You know, he just like looked in my room.
He kind of stepped up a little bit.
Yeah. So he's like my brother and sister are like big parental figures in my life. But it's we've had a tumultuous relationship, the three of us, since the passing of my father. And
how did your dad die?
The word that the coroner gave us is a pulmonary embolism. I've looked it up, and their definition of it is different from the internet's definition. So he had a blood clot move up from his leg, and it ended up in his heart and made it blow out the side. Yeah. So he was 63 at the time, back in 2017.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like very unexpected. Like, I was actually masturbating, and then I got a phone call from his neighbor, and like
Your life was made for comedy.
So I'm like pants around my ankle, like on the phone with my dad's neighbor, who we weren't talking to at the time. It was really funny because I was like, oh, they're calling. Like, I'm just gonna like not answer it. And then after the phone call ended, I called him to be like, why would they call me? And then the neighbor answered. And
oh gosh.
I was like, I guess I'm on my way. And so I'm like trying to get out the door, and I'm like,
what did they tell? Did they tell you that he died?
Yeah, they're very blunt. It was they just spent like the last half hour trying to resuscitate him while they were waiting for the emergency responders.
And were your parents split up at this point?
Yeah, they'd been divorced for years.
So he was living alone.
Yeah.
And so like, and did they just find him? Like, why? How did they?
He was laying on the backyard, like he.
Oh, he was outside.
He was putting his key in the door, and like when they found him, like the key was still in the door, and he was like face up on the ground.
That's wild. That is so fucking scary. How that can just happen out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That is the scariest thing. Our health is. We truly don't realize how fragile our health is. Like, because I had a friend also die of a heart attack, and
Andrew. Right?
Andrew, yeah, and like that guy, like it was kind of one of those things where it was like he was 36, so very unexpected. You don't really expect someone at 36 to have a heart attack, but he was a very large guy,
so I heard.
And very much so did not take care of himself. Drank a lot, did a lot of drugs. Probably didn't eat the best most of the time, although he was trying at the end of it. He was really trying.
Himself.
Yeah. And so you don't realize, like, I think when you're young, you're just like, oh, whatever. Like, my body's strong. I can take it. And it's like, no, like, the things that we do, like, contribute later. Like, it builds up. Yeah. You know?
Well, I just recently bought a fitness tracker for that reason, because...
that's a badass one. Holy shit.
Sweet.
That's high tech.
Yeah.
It looks like a little TV on your wrist.
Yeah, it's got, like, all the fun little, like, apps that you'd want on your phone, but just on my wrist.
That's amazing.
It keeps track of my heart rate, and that's like what I got it for. Was so like because I wanted to know like the difference in my heart rate between like when I like go out and drinking and like when I stay home at night.
It would be interesting.
It is pretty interesting to look at. Like my resting heart rate goes up about like 10 to 20 beats per minute if I'm intoxicated. And
that timing was wild.
That was great. And so yeah, I was like, wow, like this is like definitely something, because like when you drink, your blood gets thinner and your blood pressure goes up. So, so your heart rate increases, and
it's fucking booze, man. This is why I have a complicated relationship with booze. I do feel like it truly can destroy people if you don't fucking watch it.
Yeah.
It's really scary. How did you react to the news of your dad dying? Like, what was your
so I was the first person. I was the first person there. So my neighbor found him and then called me, and I drove there by myself. It was like right at dusk too, so the sun was like just setting and like just cutting into my eyes the whole time. So I'm like blinded and crying, like racing down Portage Avenue and calling people, and no one was answering. And I finally got there, and like eventually like my mom, her like had gotten back to me, and she was the next person there. But when I got into the backyard, there was just like a white sheet over them, and like all these like emergency responders, like police, firefighter, paramedics, and they were just like asking me a bunch of questions, and I'm like sitting like on his back step, just like chain smoking.
Like, can you give me a minute? Maybe?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
you know,
so
like,
overwhelming.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I quit both my jobs. Took like 2 months off. Like, it happened in May.
Understandable.
Yeah, it actually happened the day before my mom's birthday, funny enough. And so yeah, I didn't start working again until like July or August. And even then, like, I just like went and did construction because I just like didn't want to do anything that was like stressful at all.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. It was interesting. I don't know, I got pretty resentful. Not towards him, but just like life in general.
Of course.
Yeah, I don't know, but I was like in a relationship with this girl that was going to NASCAD out here, and she was home for the summer, and I was planning to move here that fall. And one of the last conversations my dad and I had with one another, he was talking about moving to BC, but the way that like the conversation went was I was telling him, I'm like, my main hesitation for leaving would be leaving you. And he's like, don't worry, Joel, by the time you move, I'll be gone. And he meant that he would like have moved. He would have moved to BC by that point. But in reality, he just ended up passing away.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah. And so I took it as a sign. I'm like, you know what?
Holy shit.
Like, I will leave. And so I did. I came here, and
The last words thing, that shit gets me.
Oh yeah. Well, it wasn't our last conversation. It was like within like the month before.
Oh, okay,
he died.
fair. With my friend, the last in-person conversation we had was right at the start of lockdown, and he swung by my apartment to get a webcam because we were like, let's stay in touch over like Zoom and webcam and shit. Like, we might not see each other for a bit. Let's podcast over Zoom, and like, because he was my favorite person to podcast with. There was no one I'd rather sit down and talk to. No offense, Joel.
None taken.
No one takes a cake to him. Or no one takes the cake from him either. But one of the last things I said to him in person, not including like Facebook Messenger or whatever, was I gave him the webcam. He's like, okay, hopefully see you soon, buddy. And because it was the start of Corona and we were starting to like pick up on how serious the virus was, I said, unless one of us dies. Literally, that's what I said.
Brutal.
Yeah, and I think about it constantly.
I mean, that might be something to like carry on your shoulder if like he had killed himself, but because it was an accident, like I guess it's just one of those coincidences, you know.
It's kind of comical in a weird way.
Definitely, it's hilarious. Like,
yeah,
like one day you'll like be able to work that into a set. Like it's
up in heaven, just yeah.
Dude, I taught like one of the punchlines of like one of my jokes is like my dad used to like I'd catch him staring at young women and I'd be like, Dad, that's gross. And he'd be like, old, not dead. And then like I like pause for a second and I'm like, I guess the joke's on him now. It's pretty dark, but I think it's hilarious. Like, you know, and he would have laughed at it too. Like I remember the first time I ever said it to someone, like after like he had passed, like I actually like was like cry laughing. I'm just like, that fucking idiot. Like,
right. Well, that's just, I think the key thing here is like the person that passed away would have appreciated it. That's what people have to kind of like realize when people are using humor to like deal with grief. And like, don't get me wrong. I'm not a fucking expert on grief. I don't even know if I'm dealing with it correctly. But I know that like when Andrew died, because he was a comedian, instant group chat formed with other comics, and the title of the group chat was People Who Easily Outlived Andrew Vaughn. And so what happened was people were finding out about the death because like his roommate was calling people, and as people were finding out, people were getting added to this chat, and like just jokes right away. But then there would be these little moments of like oh, okay, we're all really not doing so great. We really miss him. But like, it was mostly jokes.
Yeah.
It was just how we dealt with it.
Yeah, dealing with grief is like something I think you deal with forever.
Yes,
like,
it's ongoing.
Yeah, like I remember one of my least favorite things that people say to me, other than he's watching down on you, because fuck pushing your beliefs on a grieving person. But shit, where was I?
The annoying things people think.
When people tell you things are gonna get better, because you can't know that.
The only guarantee in life is that they will get worse.
Yeah, like the only guarantee is that they'll be different, Yeah,
like, they'll be different. Like I do think, like, I mean, there's certain cliches that I agree with. Like, I do think that this shall pass, generally speaking, is a good phrase to keep in mind when you are in the pit of like things are shit. I mean, we're gonna get really into it, but like I've had suicidal thoughts before, where like it hasn't been like, my joke is like, I'm just mildly suicidal. I'm not going to do anything. Like, I haven't thought about how I'm going to do it, but like, I've had thoughts where it's like, I don't want to be here. Like, I actually don't feel like I should be here.
Yeah.
And in those moments, in those really dark moments, I just go, this is going to pass. This is going to pass. This is really, really bad. But in a couple hours, a day, 2 days, like however long it takes, it will pass. Hopefully. Now, it doesn't always pass.
No.
Is the thing.
I say that I just get used to it. It's just something. It just becomes a part of my life. Is what it really is. What it comes down to is that it just becomes another fact about me. Yeah. So like, I was mentioning this when we were talking yesterday. Like, the more you talk about something and the more you recognize pain that you've experienced, the more control you have over it.
Yep.
So you can sort of like assign your own value and meaning to it, rather than like looking for it. You can just be like, this is what this event means to me, and this is what I'm doing about it.
Which is interesting, because you and I both have dark stuff. We both are both self-deprecating dark humor or like jokes. And like, when you said that to me, because like, making a joke about something is our form of control.
Exactly.
It's our form of taking the control back, and that's an interesting way to look at it. Like, I think more people should look at it that way, and not go, oh, like.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, like that happened to me the other week. I like talked about like being like insecure, and like I was talking about like a toxic relationship I was in, and like how long I stayed in it. And I was like, yeah, because I have no self-esteem and I hate myself. And like, I got an awe from the audience.
I know.
And like,
it's always weird when they do that.
They were my friends too. And so like, I went up to them afterwards and I was like, you said awe during my set. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, please don't. I was like,
yeah. It's hard though. It's a really hard type of comedy to navigate, especially when you're new. Like, I do think that like most newbies don't right out the gate do stuff like that we're doing. And I don't know if that speaks to maybe this fucking year, 2020, or like where we're at in life or what it is. But like, it's pretty wild to just go up there and talk about the stuff that both of us are talking about.
Yeah, it's really cathartic.
We're heroes, is what I'm saying. We are the heroes of. No, I'm just
if you're looking
totally
for inspiration,
joking.
Look to us, please.
Don't be concerned about people who've been doing it, years and years. We have the answers. Book us.
Yeah, exactly. Please, I'm desperate.
Total sarcasm, guys. Please do not book us. We're not ready.
Yeah, definitely not. I don't know. I just like. Me and my roommates, we call it Michael Scottism.
Yes.
So I have Michael Scottism, where I constantly do things that are embarrassing or uncouth, and just double down.
Yeah, double down.
And just keep going. Like I don't really experience a lot of like shame or embarrassment until like after the fact. It's like only upon reflection. In the moment, I'm usually pretty like aloof.
I'd agree, and I feel like embarrassment for me is always. I just have days sometimes where I'm just annoyed with myself. Where I'm like, okay, this is who you're choosing to be, but this is actually annoying to me right now. So
it gets the worst for me when I'm stoned too, and I'm like by myself, and I'm just like paranoid and like thinking about my like life in the past week, and I'm just like I've embarrassed myself so many times.
Have you been since starting doing stand up? Like, have you gotten in your head at all about it, or are you just having fun with it and just doing it?
I've definitely got in my head about it.
Ooh, let's talk about that, please.
I had a really successful night by my standards at Oasis. I think you were there.
I don't think I've missed an Oasis show since they've been back.
It was last Tuesday, so
right.
not last night, but the week before.
Yeah.
And that went really well. Like I did a joke about getting assaulted in my sleep. Did a joke about blue balls. Like it went well. And then, but I'd written most of the set that day, and so I was like, all right, let's keep this going. And I wrote a new joke the next day for the show that night. And crickets the entire time, and it sounded like
the entire time.
I did a little bit of crowd work at the beginning, and it was like I was like, it's like, are you uncomfortable right now? And they're like, yeah, you're staring right into my eyes. And I was like, oh, and then looked away, and everyone laughed, but it was like laughing at me, not with me. And
was this at the Grind?
Yeah. And and then I just hopped into my set, and it was like it was one story over, and it took me the whole 5 minutes.
Okay.
And it didn't go well. And like the punchline was like, yeah, but instead of me killing everyone, it just ends up with another failed suicide attempt and 12 months of therapy.
Oh my God, Joel.
And people did not respond to it, and I was really embarrassed. And I didn't record it, but I imagine that the whole set sounded more like a manifesto than like a comedy set.
You know what though? You gotta learn these lessons. Like the good for you for doing it and trying it, because now you have that to learn from.
Oh yeah, and I'm gonna go back to it. Like go back
to it. Try rework it. Maybe like, I don't know. Like I feel like with dark stuff, like one thing that I keep thinking about is like you gotta lead people into the dark, not just because like I started with like my first set. I started with my Britney Spears joke, which is a little like abrasive a little bit, and I realized that I had to change the opener just because I couldn't just come at them right away so aggressive. Like, and I mean, I think most of my stuff is a little aggressive. So like when people gave me that feedback, I was like, well, I don't know which one's the light one. They all seem pretty heavy to me. Yeah. Like honestly, so it's really tricky to navigate that. But you just got to do more sets and feel it out more. And really that's what it is, because bad sets are going to come. And I mean like you got it out of the way. You know, you got your first bad one. But I get it too, because it's a high. Like when you start doing it, it truly is a like serotonin high, and then you have the crash of like, okay, this is reality. Like my first 2 sets that whole week was wild for me. Like compliments all the time and support, and then it was like third set happened, and I was like, all of that's gone. Like you're done. You had your little debut, your little moment. It's over now. Put the work in. Like, and it was this really big crash for me.
Yeah, I remember Kirsten was talking to me after a show one time, and it was like, I think it was before my first set at the shoe shop. It was the week before. We were talking about it afterwards, and she's like, I did really well my first 3 sets, and then after that bombed, and I was like, oof. It's like that gives me something to look forward to.
It's common. Yeah. It's very common, and I don't know what it is about. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's you're going into it with more. But you wouldn't think that you'd be going into it with more confidence your first time, because you think you'd be more nervous. But maybe it's you do well, you get that like ego boost, and then you get too cocky, and it gets kind of taken away. Yeah, well, like soon after.
For me, like the first for the first month of shows that we were doing in Halifax, I was like bringing a lot of people that I knew, and so when I was going up, it was like mostly people in the audience that knew me,
and that skews it, doesn't it?
A little bit. And so I've done like I did a set at District 5, and like I at the first night there, and I didn't feel good about it, but afterwards everyone came up to me and they're like, you did great, man. And I was like,
yeah, it's so much of, well, we're always going to be harder on ourselves than other people will be. That's just like kind of a fact of being a human. Like we're just like wired to beat ourselves up. It's like public speaking. Like you think you're shaking, you think you're, but like people don't notice those things. It's funny. District 5 was like one of my worst sets too.
That was your second one at District 5, right?
I did Daily Grind as my first.
Okay.
I did Ladies' Night as my second. And then I think it was
that week was
the third was the Grind again, and that was okay. And it was the fourth set that was the worst one, which was at District 5. And then I did Shoe Shop, and then I did Last Night. So I've done 6.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I did not keep track of when that.
That's good though. That means you've probably done like quite a bit.
I've been going up like once or twice a week since we started at the Grind.
That's really, really good.
It's been fun. I've like been writing a lot. I've been like reworking stuff. After like the failure last week at the grind, I've just decided I'm gonna just rework some old stuff until I like
There
get
you
some
go.
confidence.
But sometimes you gotta do that. You gotta throw a new joke at the wall just to suss it out, and then work on it a bit, bring it back, suss it out again. That's like gonna be what comedy is. And like,
I remember like I messaged my I have a really good friend in Winnipeg, Chad Anderson.
Shout out Chad.
Yeah. He's been a comedian since I've known him. I met him like 8 years ago, must have been. And now that I've started doing comedy, he's been like a lot of help and support. And I messaged him and I was like, I bombed my set tonight. He's like, welcome to comedy.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. So like, do you definitely say that was a bomb?
I like almost like I was so like awkward and embarrassed at the end of it. I almost said like my real name. Like when I was like, thanks very much. I'm Joel.
I haven't done
Franklin.
that. I haven't done that yet. I haven't done the I'm Sarah McClellan at the end.
I noticed everyone does it. Like people will be like they get introduced. They get introduced. They'll be like, hi, I'm so and so, and then they go on and they do their bit, and then like after they like do their their finisher, they're like, thanks very much, I've been so and so, and then they get off. And it's about,
should try it next time.
I think it's about getting recognition.
When I started doing that, I was very hell-bent on carrying on Andrew Vaughn's way of ending his set, which was like he would say his last punchline, then he just goes bye and like left the stage. I was like, I'm gonna do that in honor of the big cat when I end my sets, and every time I'm up there I just go, that's it guys, thanks.
That's great. I think like as long as you have like your
thing.
Yeah,
I think that might be my thing. Although I might try doing the thanks guys. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm probably gonna stumble on my own name.
Robbie's been giving me a lot of pointers after sets and stuff, and one of the first things he ever pointed out to me was that I left the mic stand in front of me.
I've been doing that too. Me and Travis Lindsay just recorded, and we did a new comic bingo.
All right.
We filled out a bingo card of like very typical things that new comics do, and we didn't add that one. That's a good one to add. Vicky last night got on my case about it too. She's like, because she's been taking pictures of me when I'm up there. I'm like, thank you, Vicky. And then she's like, you got to move that mic stand. I'm like, I fucking know. I can't do it. It's so weird.
And then I've seen like some people like use it during their set.
Yeah, that's wild.
And so like
it's ballsy.
Whenever like when Robbie told me the first time, he's like, you gotta move that stand out of the way.
Yeah.
The next set I did, and I was like, I know some of you have been bothered by the fact that I forgot to do this last time, and I like moved the stand. And then I've been helping him set up too at the grind, and so I was like messing around with the microphone stand because I didn't want to like be the kind of person that like tried to adjust it and like I'm very conscious of that as well. I'm like, I don't want to fuck with that to even just like open myself up to that awkwardness. Exactly. And so like were you there when I did that bit about the Pina Colada song?
Pina Colada.
Like Rupert Holmes has a song called Escape, and but everyone knows it's a Pina Colada song. Like, if you like Pina Coladas, getting caught in the rain. That's the one. I did a whole bit about it, but I was like, I learned how to use a microphone stand earlier, and I like loosened it and then like pulled it up to my height, which is like so much taller than I like realized. And then I was like, this is me now. It's like I talk into a microphone stand. So So I've been like sort of making fun of myself a lot on stage. And
that's good. That's good. You should. I mean, I didn't mean that as like,
please make fun of yourself. You're terrible. I laugh all the time.
But I just mean like, I think that's an endearing quality in a comic, like the humility. And that's interesting. So Robbie's giving you pointers because like I could actually see some similarities between you two in terms of like stage presence and stuff. That's interesting.
Yeah, he's just I don't know why he likes me. He like I help him set up sometimes, like, and I got like Dan, like the guy that plays keyboards, like that's my roommate, and like I remember the first show I went to at the shoe shop, Robbie's like walking around afterwards and he's like, does anyone know how to play the piano? And I was like, my hand shoots up and he's like, you know how to play the piano? And I was like, no, but I know the best piano player I've ever met in my life. He's my roommate. He will do this.
Oh my gosh. And that's how it happened?
I called him, like I was like sitting at the shoe shop, and like Robbie's looking at me, and I'm talking to Dan on the phone. I'm like, do you want to play music at these shows? And,
oh my god!
And he's like, I have to think about it. I'm like, no, right now, like yes or no.
Yes or no, take it or leave it.
And he said, yeah. And so
that's unreal. Is he ever gonna do stand up?
We've been pushing him to do it. He
we need more in our class. We gotta. You and I should recruit.
Oh yeah, we should try and get more people to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Like, just like pressure people into it, like bully them into going on stage.
Yeah.
Like send someone a message. Hey, your name's on this open mic set list. Like, come on down. Otherwise,
people are expecting you.
Exactly.
Come on down.
No, Dan has a couple jokes written out. Although he's not confident in them enough to do a bit. But
that's fair.
He one night, like, there's a song that someone made for Robbie. It's a friend of his, and it's Robbie Vino has no friends and he's not very funny. And it's hilarious.
Only
it's a great
one of those
song.
things is true. I think he has a lot of friends.
And that's like the running joke in the community is that like he's not funny, but he's actually hilarious.
He's actually very funny. Robbie is a good. I think he's really excellent at communicating with a crowd and having that back and forth with a crowd. Like there's a reason I picked him as a co-host for my live show because I was just like, yeah, I need someone who can warm them up, make them excited, and like that quality. Like a lot of new comics wish they would have that, and he has that naturally. So
yeah, he doesn't write. Like the other day we were hanging out before a show. Like he'd picked me and Dan up, and then we set up, and then we went to go buy Jewel Pods because we're fucking losers.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "What should I do tonight?" And I was like, "Sorry, what?" And he's like,
he just rolls with it. Like which is definitely like I would never do that. It's not for everybody. Yeah. But he does it. He makes it work.
Yeah, he's like, it's like half an hour before showtime, and he's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, like, but I'm sure it'll be great. And it was. He did really well. He always kills it. I find.
Yeah, he like it natural on stage presence, like that type of shit. Like I mean, that's a whole other. You know, there's a lot of things you gotta have as a comic to be a good comic. And when you're new and starting out, you're figuring out all those components. And like Travis Lindsay was saying, like, you know, you might have really strong jokes, but you have to work on the character and the presence on stage. Mm-hmm. Or maybe you have really good stage presence and your jokes are okay, but you got to work on the joke. Like there's work to do for everybody. And like even people who are years in, they have to realize that it's constant work. Even when you're a pro, it's constant fucking work.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the thing
well,
about
like,
the art.
When like Jim Gaffigan, Tom Segura, and like there's some other person I'm trying to think of right now, but they come up with a new special every year.
Yeah.
You know? Like, and so that means that they're doing like a whole hour of material every year, which is fucking crazy to think about. Cause like,
isn't that wild?
Yeah.
An hour.
We're
doing 5 to 7.
Exactly.
Isn't that crazy?
It's pretty nuts. And so like I never understood like how much appreciation I should have for what these guys are doing on stage.
Right? I know.
And now that I've done it, I'm just like, holy shit, these guys are gods.
I truly, like, even just little things. Little things like people make fun of me for taking my big notebook up with me. Fuck you. I'll do what I want for now.
Oh, dude.
But, like, even just the idea of not going up there with notes, like, that to me is wild. And I don't know how long it'll take me to get there, but like I really heavily rely on my notes to like just jog my memory with things. And that's my goal for myself is I want to get better at just kind of having them up here. I'm picking from them up here. And like when people do that, I'm just like, that's insane to me. Yeah. Just to go up and go, what else? Okay, I got this one. Like
it's
crazy.
And so that's what I'm trying to do like tonight. Like I have a set list of like jokes that I've done before. And I have them pretty well like rehearsed in my head. And so I'll just have like the title of the jokes and they'll be on a paper and I'll look down at them. Whereas like before my set lists are like very like it's like there's so much detail, like the
word for word almost. Or?
It's crazy. Like the other week, I did a set at the Grind, and like if I can pull it out, yeah, here it is. This is what I brought on stage with me. Like it's like this is the first.
It's pretty word for word.
Yeah, and then like Durham gave me a joke to read like on stage, and that's what I opened with. But yeah, so I'd written most of this the day of, and then took it on stage with me.
That's crazy. So when I do it, I do titles and bullet points.
Bullet
points of the main components.
So here's tonight's. So
there you go.
It's like the joke, the.
That's kind of similar. That's exactly what I do.
The joke, the bridge, joke, bridge, and then moving on.
Right. Damn. Well, we're in this ride together, buddy. It's gonna be.
We'll see how it goes.
It's gonna be interesting, eh?
It was funny. I didn't. What?
What about dating? Are you dating? We gotta get into personal shit. This is a personal podcast.
I'm dating. Yeah, I'm not anywhere. Like I actually just deleted my dating apps.
I was literally going to say, can I see your profile? Because I'm always fascinated with guys' profile.
Yeah. So I was on Tinder and Hinge. Tinder definitely fell by the wayside. Hinge was much more lucrative.
Hinge is great.
It's pretty
It's
sweet.
a much better app.
Well, it just like makes it easier to like show your personality before. Like in Tinder, you have pictures and then you make your bio, but on Hinge, it like you get prompts for everything. So every picture you put, you can like put a caption on, and then there's like the 3 prompts that they ask you, so they're questions that you answer.
Yeah.
And so like mine were super dumb. It's like this is like non-negotiable for me. It's like facial hair. You gotta have some, you know. And then, it's like the hallmark of a good relationship is choosing Kohl's instead of a Hallmark. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
And now that you can be funny with the prompts, which is great.
Yeah.
And you can also respond really you can respond to people's prompts.
Exactly.
And be funny.
So when you message someone, you can like comment directly to the thing that they like have written out. So it works out really well. So yeah, I've met a couple people off of that. There's like I went on like maybe like there was like a 2 or 3 week period where I was going on like 2 or 3 dates a week. And
crazy. It's a lot of dates.
Like people
to me that's a lot.
People are getting sick of like listening to me talk about it. They're just,
oh really?
My roommates are just like, "What are you doing tonight, Joel?" I'm just like, "Oh, I think I'm going on a date. I don't know. We'll see." They're just like, "Dude, like fuck off." Like,
what's your date style? Like what do you typically do? Drinks?
My go-to is to ask for drinks. Yeah.
Drinks.
But my favorite date I've been on recently was I asked a girl to meet me like at the chain yard, and then
great date spot.
And then we took the ferry over to the Value Village and went thrift shopping together. And then
what? That's crazy. That's nice.
Yeah. So like they weren't from here, so like it was their first time on the ferry. We take the ferry out to like the Woodside terminal.
Yep.
Did some thrift shopping. Like I got a couple books. They got a hat, and then we like took the ferry back, and we ended up hanging out at her place for like hours.
Oh.
Yeah, just chatting and stuff.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm not much for kissing on the first date, though. I'm much more interested in like this is like.
God, you shouldn't. I have a matchmaker friend. That's one of her rules. No, like when she sets you up on a date through her system, it's no number exchanges, no last names, no kissing on the first date.
Yeah, I just feel like it's like a great way to ruin a first date, you know, like because like there's no natural unless it's like someone that you've known for a long time. There's usually no natural point to like make it to go in for the kiss, you know, like
no, unless it's like exceptionally good
fireworks right from the beginning.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think I've ever kissed someone on the first date.
I have. Yeah. Like that's a new rule.
That's good though, because I do think I think third date is when things can start to get physical.
There's one date I went on one time with I was back in Winnipeg and I was visiting since I'd been living here, and we went for ice cream. Like she met me actually. I usually drink a little bit before dates just so I feel a little bit more loose, and so I had a couple beers, went downtown. I was waiting for her, so I sat at a bar and then met these geologists, and that's just
made friends with them.
Yeah, made
typical Joel.
Made friends with people at wherever I was sitting, and then they bought me a couple drinks, and so I'm actually close to slurring words, and then this girl shows up, and we go get ice cream. We go for a long walk, and then she's sharing the story about some dude that got baked before their first date.
Oh my god.
And she called him out on it, and he starts crying. And so she's this dude is clearly going through some sort of mental breakdown. Thinks it would be a good idea to smoke weed before this date, and this girl just calls him out on it. And what she said to me was she's like if you want to smoke weed on a date, at least ask.
At least share it. Yeah. I think that happened to me too with a date once that it didn't I was just I'm not interested, and he's in all fairness I was really high. I was I don't think that's gonna change anything, because if you're high on a first date you're probably high a lot.
Yep.
And if I can't get down with you high, then and you're high all the time, I can't date you.
Yeah,
so
that's a good point.
Yeah.
And so but with this girl we I walked her back to her apartment, and I was strangely enough, I had parked right beside her apartment and walked to the place we decided to meet. So I was like, well, I'll walk you home. Like, where do you live? And she's like, I live right here. And I'm like, I literally parked my car outside your place. So we walk out, and then I'm like, so listen, you mentioned earlier that like, if you wanted to get baked on a date, I should ask. And I was like, how do you feel about smoking a little bit of weed? Invites me up to her apartment, and then like I spent the night. So
that's smooth.
That was a great first date.
Well, that's a good way to like. It's always like dates are. Can we just say it? Dates are fucking awkward. Do you find them awkward? I feel like you're kind of a natural at dates.
Yeah,
are you? Yeah. Fuck you. Oh my god. Of course you are.
I just don't look at it like a date. You know, you're just meeting someone like. And I just always order a bottle of wine. Is like what I do. It's like I don't like what are you drinking? What are you drinking? I'm like, we should get a bottle of wine. What do you want? Red or white? And then like we go through the price list, and I'm like, listen, we're not gonna get anything more expensive than like the 2 or 3 cheapest bottles.
Right. Okay.
And then there's no server interruption either because you're pouring your own wine, so you just get to sit there and like.
Oh,
enjoy
that's actually a really good
someone.
idea. That's a good little insight thing. I just find the ends awkward because it's like, do you say I'll see you soon or I'd like to see you again? Or the end is what I dread. I don't even really care about the beginning because I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
We're on this ride. Let's just do this. But like the end is always really tough for me. And then it's the follow-up after that I find that I always shit the fucking bed.
It's like
big time.
The beginning of the date and like maybe like the like middle, like the like beginning to middle should be like a little bit rehearsed, and you should have your own sort of like things that you want to do, like things you want to say or like directions you want to steer the date in. But by the end of the date and then like going off after, I think that should like be dependent on like how the date went. You know, like you can't have like a recipe for finishing a date and then
that's true.
The next day, like there's like people where I've like been on a date with and things go great, and like I'm like I'll message you, and then like I send them a message like a day or two later, and they're like, listen, you're great. I'm just not looking for anything right now.
Yeah. Normally it's not physically on the first date that like any rejection happens. Like it's always the text afterwards, right? Like most people don't end a date by going, I'm not interested, like looking at the person and like that would be brutal.
That would be brutal. I mean, I'm sure there's times where you've finished a date and you're just like, I never want to see this person again.
Oh, absolutely. Like I've only been on maybe 1 or 2 terrible dates. I've been pretty lucky. They've been pretty like mild and neutral and okay.
Right.
But to me, that's not a good date. But that's just not a bad date either. It's just
a date.
It's just meh.
Yeah.
It's just meh, and I just think that the good ones where you leave thinking about the person and you're like, oh, I could really hang out with that person again. Those are the ones that should turn into second dates.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the whole dating culture is such a weird thing because like to me,
so weird.
Like, especially if like you start dating someone and then it gets like physically intimate before you're like fully emotionally intimate, it sort of like sets you up for failure because like
100%.
Because like if you start like because like there's like levels of intimacy, you know, like there's like face value, there's like you enjoy doing the same thing together, you enjoy spending time with the person, and then like you're intimate, you know. And if you like mess that up along the way, it can sort of jumble things and you become like dependent on sex as like part of the relationship, you know, where sex should be a part of a relationship, but it shouldn't be like a factor in it, you know. Like,
it shouldn't be the main thing.
Exactly.
Because like sex stuff can be, you have bad first time sex. Like you can probably make it better. You can probably like just learn to communicate more to change that shit. But things like talking, conversation, having the same values, connecting, understanding each other, like that shit, like you gotta have that right off the bat.
Yeah.
You gotta have that. And I'm a huge fan of drawing it out until you can't take it anymore. Like I'm just like, I like sexual tension more than I like sex. I feel like I actually like I will ding the bell for myself on that. Like I and sometimes it is better than actual sex.
Really? Yeah. Well, like especially
you draw it out too much.
Especially if you're like really attracted to someone and then you finally have sex with them and it's lackluster.
Well, that's just it, right? And that's the danger of it.
Yeah.
That would be, it's finding that right balance between too much sexual tension and just enough. Like, you can't draw it out too long. Like 2 years, maybe. That's maybe.
A bit of a stretch.
Maybe don't do that, Sarah.
Have you done that?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, poor guy.
Poor guy had the option and said no. Poor me. Yeah, long story.
Brutal. But yeah,
very complicated.
But then the other way is like you can have sex with someone and it's incredible, you know, and then you try and form a relationship with the person after the fact,
and you're like
red flags all over the place, and then like it just keeps going because like being in like physically intimate is like so wonderful that you just look past the shitty things.
It's pretty wild. It's weird because then you do hear stories of like couples who like fucked on the first date and like they're fine and they're together still, and like it's like, yeah, sometimes it does work. But for the most part, I don't want to like I went on a date recently where I was really into him, very attracted. I thought he was attracted to me. Like, he flirted with me via text afterwards, but I pumped the brakes on the flirty texting because I was like, this is dangerous. This could lead to sexting, and I don't want it to go there because I don't want to be the sexting girl, because in the past, I've had guys just sext with me and not actually sex me. And I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore. You got to be a feet guy, not a hand guy. Feet, like, hand guys are the texters.
Right.
Feet guys are the ones walking to your place and doing it. And I don't need hand guys anymore. I need guys who are actually showing up.
Gotcha.
So I pumped the brakes on the flirtiness just for my own like insecurity, and then I think that like he fucked off because I did that and I lost him. So I was just like, fuck! There's no right way around this.
I don't know. I'm the worst texter. Like,
Really?
Well, you've talked with me on like you send me like this long message, and I'm like, that's great.
No, but that's good because you actually write back and you're concise. I don't think that that's bad at all. I think a bad texter is someone who like doesn't respond right away or like isn't clear in what they're saying. You're concise and clear, even though it's short.
That's great. Well, but I guess like where I'm going with this is like I suck at like texting like people that I'm like romantic with. Like I had this one girlfriend and she would like text me like at the end of the night. She's like, ooh, like you're so like she just like get into it, you know, like I don't want to, like I'm not gonna try and recreate it because it'll just sound awful. But
yeah.
She'd be like, I'm so hot for you, like, and I'd be like, you're really pretty, like yeah, great, but I'm like sitting at home watching TV with the boys, you know, like I'm not like motivated to like be sexy.
It's hard for a lot of people. I could honestly teach a class on it. I feel like I could teach men and women how to sext at this point because I've done it so much. It's tricky though. Like, I mean, I think sexting, like one of a good go-to is like if you're weirded out by talking first person, talk about like a fantasy you have, or like talk about a future plan that's like a fantasy in your head.
Okay.
That's a good way to get into it.
Smart.
Yeah, like if we met up tomorrow, this is what I would do.
Ooh.
Or this is what would happen.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right.
It's just a little easier than going, yeah, right now I'm so hard for you.
Right? It just sounds so fucking awkward and awful. It's like great. It's like
yeah. Like it's
pictures make it even worse because like I think the female form is like so incredible, and but like dudes, it's like we just have like the only sexual part of our like body, or the only part that's been sexualized is like our genitals, you know. But
also
like,
chest though. I think y'all have been sexualized a lot more than you think.
Okay, fair enough.
Honestly, like shirtless guys, muscle, arms, girls love shoulders too.
Oh yeah.
Like a shoulder back.
Okay, good to know.
I love a shoulder back.
I'm learning a lot right now.
I think there's guys are scared to send pictures. I've asked for pictures before and not gotten them and been pissed. Because I'm like, I'm showing you so much of me. Like, you've seen everything of me. You've seen every inch. And all I'm saying is like, send me a picture of like your hard on, even just through your boxers. Right. And you won't send me that. When I'm asking for it, it's not an unsolicited dick pic if the girl is like, please send me this. I want to see it. It's like the opposite. I should turn that into a bit somehow. Yeah. I'm like begging for a dick pic.
You're there. Like, yeah, that's almost a joke for sure.
And then they don't, but I also get why they don't, but like.
It's just like, it seems like tricky. A terrible economy, you know, like there's like these great pictures of like boobs and ass. And then like all I've got is just like this like weird looking appendage coming out like my crotch.
Some dudes though, some guys love sending their dick. Like my hookup buddy who's the firefighter. Ooh, maybe cut that. Although it's in one of my jokes, so I don't really care. But like he's like an exhibitionist. What's that word?
Exhibitionist.
There it is. Thank you. And he just sends me Snapchats all the time. And I don't think it's unsolicited because we are hookup buddies.
Right.
But I'm just like, you are the one guy I know who just fucking loves sending his dick to people.
That's
most guys don't.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys, you know. And then I remember one time, it's so embarrassing. I shouldn't tell this story, but I'm going to.
We're at the end. Whoever hears it deserves it.
I was going through a breakup. This is back in Winnipeg, and I hopped on Tinder because I was like feeling lonely and needed some validation. And I was talking with this one lady, and they were sending me some pictures, and they're like, "All right, now you," and I was like, "All right, sure," and I like tried to get it up, but like I was like in such like I was not doing well at the time, and so I couldn't even like
send an old picture.
So I sent a picture of my flaccid penis to this girl.
That's ballsy.
It was fucking did not work.
What did she say?
Did not work out. Didn't say anything. I never heard from him again.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god! Wow.
It was.
And he didn't try to recover from that.
I was like really depressed and like so devastated by this girl that I just broke up with, and like was just.
Next time you're hard, take a picture, and make sure it's saved. Like, put it in like your favorites or something where you can easily find it, and then just use that next time.
I don't like that.
I know, it's fair. That's just what I do. I send recycled nudes all the time.
That's what I don't want to recycle is my thing. Like, you know, like.
But I heard recently on a podcast, Olivia Munn was on Whitney Cummins' podcast, and she was saying, you got to be careful with that because if you do send an old picture and they save it, it will save in their phone under the date that you took it.
Right.
So it'll be obvious right away if they save it, if it was an old picture.
Gotcha.
So they say take screenshots of your old pictures.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just hoping that whatever future relationship I end up in, nudes aren't a big part of it.
That's fair. I mean, you shouldn't. Yeah. If you live in the same city, just fuck. Like, you don't need to be sending pictures.
Right.
Like.
I like how we've derailed like so
We
far.
truly have. We haven't even gotten into like soberness and stuff.
Oh yeah. Well,
like I feel like we could make that another episode maybe. We're at 150 now. You got to get to the grind.
I gotta feed my cat.
You gotta feed your cat.
We can go on for a little bit longer.
I was gonna say I have a game that I usually play with new guests to get to know them.
Sure.
It's just a quick questionnaire. To get to know Joel without me explicitly asking you what these. It's a Freudian questionnaire. Okay.
Freud is great.
So. I've been playing this with a lot of people. I'm sorry, listeners, if you're getting sick of it, but they're good conversation starters. So fuck you.
It's like
you
Hinge. It's just like Hinge. We're
exactly.
Yeah.
What is your favorite article of clothing?
T-shirts.
Do you have a specific one that you love, like of yours, or just t-shirts in general?
I like tight white tees, sort of like what I'm wearing right now.
Tight white tees. Okay, so 3 things about why you like tight white tees.
I'm kind of vain. I enjoy the way my body looks, so I like to show it off. White tees are very you can match them with anything, really.
Okay.
And I kind of feel a little bit like Marlon Brando, you know, like from Streetcar Named Desire, where he has like the cigarettes tucked underneath his shoulder sleeve. Like that's
so kind of badass.
A little bit, but like it's also a white tee, and like it's like such a basic thing for guys to do now. The worst is like when you come across a group of guys walking down the street and they're all wearing white tees, and I'm just like, is any one of you an individual, or are you guys just all the same person?
It works though. I do agree. It's classic staple for a guy, I think.
Mm-hmm. And then I can it's so easy to match. Like I have many different colored pants, and I can always wear a white t-shirt with them. And then I have like a button up that I like matched with it, and so it's a great undershirt as well.
Sweet. Okay, I can work with that. Your what is next? Oh, whoops, I missed one. So your favorite animal?
My favorite animal is a dog.
Okay, why?
I feel like me and dogs are very similar. You know, easily excitable, very passionate, loyal when it's the right person, and just like easygoing.
Easygoing, perfect. Your favorite body of water?
Favorite body of water.
And so this can be specific, or it can just be like ocean, lake, or if you have like a specific one.
Yeah, there's a creek that ran through, like, so I love the ocean. Like, that's why I love being, one of the main reasons I love being out here. I learned to surf since I've been here.
Fuck yeah.
My favorite body of water is Sturgeon Creek. It's a creek that runs through, like, a field behind the house that I lived in, like, the first house I ever lived in. And my dad played in it when he was growing up. I played in it growing up. The most recent experience I had with it was me and a good friend of mine. We got day drunk and passed out at like right beside it. And like,
oh wow.
Yeah. It was like one of my last times visiting, and like we hung out and we'd partied the night before, and then we're hanging out during the day. Drank a bunch of beer, went down to Sturgeon Creek, passed out, got sunburnt, and like went to go have dinner with his parents afterwards, and we're all just like hung over from like the day and like sunburnt, and they're trying to have like a nice conversation with us, and we're just like,
you're just like done,
yeah,
like toasted.
Yeah.
What about the creek specifically do you like? So like you have memories with it, but like when you think about it as a body of water,
it's got lots of nature around it. So like leading up to it, it's grassy, and then there's like these big reeds, like, you know, like the ones where you like, they're like the brown tops and they like have the fluffy stuff inside of them. I played with those a lot growing up. I don't know,
picturesque.
Picturesque.
Like, would you say it's picturesque?
Yeah,
okay.
It's like very Adventures of Tom Sawyer, you know?
Okay. Interesting. That's going to be an interesting one to work with.
Sure.
How would you feel if you were in a white room? So all white, like no windows, totally white, kind of bright, like...
How do I feel in those rooms? Pretty normal, actually. Like, it kind of reminds me of a classroom or like a hospital room.
Mm-hmm.
And like my parents are both in healthcare, so I spent a lot of time hanging out in hospitals growing up.
So you'd be calm?
Yeah, and I'd probably start singing that Cream song, like White Room, you know? In the white room.
It wouldn't give you nerves or make you anxious?
No, fluorescent lights and like no paint on the wall. It doesn't seem out of the ordinary for me.
Okay. This is going to be interesting. All right. So your favorite animal is actually, you kind of just said it when you were describing it. It's how you see yourself. Mm. So you said easily excitable, loyal, passionate, and easygoing. Mm. And I think that works really well. Favorite article of clothing?
T-shirts.
Is how other people see you. Which was vain.
Yes, I won't try to deny that.
You like your body in it. Mm. It matches with everything and badass.
Mm. Yeah.
That's how other people see you. Okay. This is a weird one. Body of water is how you view sex. This question is always weird because people are always like, it's very nostalgic and I played with my dad in it. And like, and I'm like, oh, how do I make this about sex? But you did say like, it's picturesque. Mm. Like you described the surroundings a lot. So like, are you like a visual person with sex? So. Okay, so that kind of makes sense. Mm. The white room is how you view death, which is interesting.
Very comfortable with it. Yes, death has been a big part of my life. Like even like with my dad doing like firefighting and my mom doing X-ray tech. Like after I got involved in the addictions community, you get close with a lot of being like a drug addict, like a lot of the people I knew growing up have passed away. And then a lot of people I met through like being sober have passed away.
Right.
Yeah. Like I had one summer where like 4 people died in the same month. It was fucking...
So you've had a lot of experiences with, like, are you, I always ask this right at the very fucking end, but like, does your own death freak you out or?
Nah, I'd just be sad for the people that like me. You know, I don't have to deal with it.
Wow, that's a really good way to think about it. Yeah.
I mean, like, once I die, like, that's it. Like my hopes and dreams don't, like, my fear of it is inconsequential because it's happened, you know? But it's just like...
So you're not afraid of it?
I mean, like, if someone held a gun to my head, I'd probably ask them not to shoot me. But, you know, in, like, a real polite way. It's like, hey, could you get that out of here? Like...
Yeah, please no. I'd prefer not. But, you know, yeah. Okay, interesting. But it's not like a crippling anxiety fear that you have.
No, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of death. Like, I tried to kill myself when I was 11 for the first time.
Jesus Christ. Jesus intoxicated. Just bringing it out right at the end here. Yeah, how would you, how?
Well, I was pretty dumb as a kid. So, like, I barricaded myself in my room and wasn't going to leave until I, like, had figured out a way to kill myself. But then my brother... my friends showed up because I just, like, abruptly left, like, a hangout, and then, like, my brother was home, and they're, like, knocking on the door, so, like, there's people on the other side. It wasn't something that I could have gotten away with.
Wow. Jesus Christ.
Mm.
We heavy people here on this episode today. Oh yeah, and the other 3 things that I usually ask my people before they leave is you gotta tell me one thing you really like about yourself, one thing you really don't like about yourself that you're working on as a person, and an unpopular opinion that you have.
Okay. So one thing I do like about myself is people usually feel comfortable talking with me. One thing I don't like about myself is that I usually say things that I shouldn't to others. So like I try to be mindful of how I talk to people. Like the other night at the staff party, he's like, my boss was complaining at me because he's like, everyone's late. He's like, why did no one show up at the time I asked them to? And I'm like, dude, like, we all work together. We're always late. Like, why would you expect any different? And he's like, Joel, you're not doing a bit right now. Stop making fun of me. And I was like, sorry, man. Like,
so it's you kind of like it's no filter, but like almost in a detrimental way. Sometimes
it can be to my detriment for sure.
I feel like that's one that you could easily spin into a positive.
Yeah, I'm very blunt. Like I'm very I have a lot of candor, and I often lack couth. You know.
Okay. Okay. Is it something that you're working on, or is it just something that you're just kind of like, fuck, I hate that about me?
It's definitely something that like has been getting on my nerves a little bit, and I want to change. Like I will get home after a night of like spending time with people and like reflect on it, and like as I'm like journaling, I'll be like, stop telling people about this. Like no one wants to hear that.
Yeah. Fair enough. And then unpopular opinion. So this is like something that you think that like most people would disagree with you, or like the vast majority of people would disagree. We can get controversial, or it can be silly. Like Travis Lindsay said Frozen 2 is better than Frozen 1. Like that was his.
I like that. No, I'm like a pretty left-leaning individual.
Yeah.
And like basic income is something that...
Is that unpopular though? Well, I guess that's kind of to be determined. To be determined if it's unpopular or not.
It's definitely something I've been like a proponent for like years now, like since before I moved out here. And then now with like CERB happening and like everyone benefiting from it, I think that universal basic income is something that is like necessary.
You and Steve Mackey agree.
Oh yeah?
Steve Mackey has talked about that on stage.
Has he? Yeah. I have a bit about like American healthcare and stuff like that as well. Like I just don't think people should be hungry, man. Like
fuck no, it's crazy how how little people get paid, and then they get like it was wild for me specifically because I've been on EI, so it's actually like slightly less than CERB, but for me it was wild because I've been struggling with that much, and so like I made more than that before that, and for me to see other people go, I haven't made this much ever. Exactly. I'm just like, holy shit. Like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Exactly.
Why are service industry people, like, I understand tips, like tips make up so much of it, but the amount of difference it would do if you gave people a base wage that was livable.
Well, yeah, there's so many.
And still let them have tips. Like, can you imagine?
It would be great. Like, I think that so many, like, all the pilot projects that they've done with universal basic income, like they did one in Dauphin, Manitoba for a while, and then before Rob Ford, he's the one that's the Premier of Ontario right now, right?
I think
one of the living Ford brother.
Yeah. One of them.
He so it was a Liberal government before he got elected, and then they were doing a pilot for universal basic income in a few communities in the province. And then when the Conservatives took over, they kiboshed it. They like canceled the entire thing. And but like every like bit of research that they've done like has shown that it's to the benefit of the people receiving it.
That's right.
You know, like people are able to like recover from their debt.
Oh, that's a big one.
People are able to renovate their houses. You know, like
afford rent, like maybe live on their own rather than living with like 3 people.
People are able to go back to school. You know, like someone who like was like not able to make ends meet and like working a dead end job. But like trying to support themselves and their family, were suddenly able to do all that and go back to school because they could just use school as their full-time job and then pay for everything with the money that they're given. I mean, like, I have a good friend, I won't mention him by name because I don't want to shit on him on air, but like he like he's very much against it. Like he thinks that like if you like give money to people for nothing, that it's going to devalue the dollar, and then the prices of everything are just going to go up anyways. And like that's like probably a little bit true, but like my argument against it is like, well, we're living without that right now, and things are the way they are. So like, what's change going to do?
That's right. People kill themselves over money. Like money is a lot of people's biggest stress.
It is. It's
like it. I know for me, like it's my biggest stress for sure, and I carry it in my fucking body. I'm stressed about it and I don't even know it sometimes. Like, just constantly, like I constantly get notifications. You're spending against your budget. You're spending against your budget.
Oh yeah, my fucking bank
yes
emails me like twice a week. It's like, do you know that you're spending over your budget? It's like,
yes.
I know.
I know, it's so annoying, and it's just like, yeah, you know, like I'm really grateful for EI and shit, but it's not sustainable. You know, like, and obviously, like I would never expect to just stay on EI forever.
Yeah.
But it was such a wake up call for me, where it was like, CERB, you know, it was $2,000 a month, and like that's the most a lot of people have made over this time.
Yeah, I didn't make that. I think I made just over that when I was an electrician. You know, and like it's obscene. Like the fact that like the government was like, all right, everybody gets $2,000 a month in order to sustain themselves, because they thought that that was like a reasonable like amount to give people, and then like everyone who was making less than that, it's just like, this money has been available this entire time, you know?
Yeah.
Like, this is what you consider to be like a livable amount of money. And then like
crazy,
the minimum wage, like now that it's all over, like the minimum wage hasn't changed, and
people are going taking the dip again.
Yeah, like people had like purposely been refraining from going back to work, because it was more profitable for them to stay on CERB.
That's a fucking problem.
Yeah, man. Like
if they don't see it as a wake up call, like what the heck?
I know a lot of restaurants in the city here, like they had to hire more staff coming back from quarantine because no one wanted to work over $500 a week. You know, because like you get,
it wasn't worth it for them.
Yeah, exactly. If you make less than $1,000 a month, you're still qualified for CERB.
Mm-hmm.
And so like people would refuse to go back to their job if like they weren't.
They wouldn't take the hours.
Exactly. So all these restaurants had to hire on like twice the amount of people, and then or hire someone who didn't want to be on CERB that would work all the hours. You know.
That's crazy.
It's pretty wild.
What a fucking shit show of a world that we're in right now.
I think Spain or Portugal decided that after like quarantine that they would just continue their like basic income program. So like everyone that was being supported by the government like when they were unemployed is eligible to just be like on lifetime basic income. But I think the way that it works there is that like there's the amount that you're supposed to like, so like say it's $2,000. Like if you make less than $2,000, that the government will supplement the top end of that. Mm-hmm. So like it's not like everybody gets $2,000 a month. It's like if you made less than this like base amount,
they would top it up.
Exactly.
And if you made more, you would just stick with your normal.
Exactly.
I mean, that's totally fair.
Yeah.
Do fucking that.
Why not? You know, I don't know. Obviously, there's like so many more like externalities and like cause and effect things that go along with it. But I think it's very realistic.
Yeah.
Like, especially like I like in some of the courses I'm taking in university, I learned that about 30% of people in Nova Scotia have experienced food insecurity in the last year. You know, and then like
what does that mean, food insecure? Like they can't afford food?
Yeah, they weren't sure if they were going to be able to feed themselves and their family. You know,
been there myself, and I'm just a single person.
Same.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so it's like a fact of life that is like right on our doorstep, but like because people don't experience it themselves, like they look at requiring help as like a moral failing.
Right.
Like, and like I always use the example like when I was 18 and like living in that halfway house, like I had to go on welfare to be able to pay for it because my parents weren't able to like pay for me to live somewhere else. So like I had to go on, like I was on social assistance for like 6 months of my life, you know, and it saved me.
Right.
And like people think that like someone standing in welfare line is a bad person who's a drug addict who like is taking advantage of the system, but like I was just someone who needed help at the time.
You're in survival mode.
Exactly. You know,
it's survival.
So like my character was never in question when I was going to the office to get a welfare check.
Right.
You know, and so many people like they're like people are just looking for a handout, like they just don't want to work.
Right.
It's not that, they're just like
they want to live.
Exactly. You know, like, and
let people live, and then like this culture of like work, hustle. It's like we also gotta live as humans.
Yeah.
And be given that right. Jumpins.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
man.
that's I did not expect this to get political.
I like it. I rarely do, but this is something that I'm interested in. It's fascinating, but also sad. Like, it's one of those things, right?
So I'm going into my second year in philosophy and political science. So hopefully the next time we bring this up, I'll be a little bit more well-versed.
Oh, hell yeah. Let's freaking talk. Yeah, absolutely. You'll have to come back on, bud. I'd
love to.
Thank you so much for coming on. This was excellent. Great Intoxicated debut from Joel Franklin here.
Oh, thank you very much. It was such a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Oh, this is good. So we're comedy classmates. We're going to be going through this wild ride together, and you'll be back. I'm sure I'll have you back with other people, and can people follow you if they want to like follow you on social media?
Yeah. So I rebranded myself on Instagram.
Hell yeah.
It used to be my full name, but now it's just my stage name. But my Instagram handle is Frank Daddy Deluxe. Yeah. At Frank Daddy Deluxe.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's pretty entertaining. I sometimes put polls on.
Oh, that's fun. I love doing that.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And I always put videos of me and my friends getting up to shenanigans. And then if you want to know where shows are, that's where you'll find them.
Perfect. Yeah, you gotta local Halifax listeners, obviously fucking check out some live comedy here in Halifax. There's a fuck ton of stuff going on. We got, let's ring it off. We have Monday nights at Kai Brady's. We have Tuesday nights at the Oasis. We have Wednesday nights at Daily Grind. Thursday nights at District 5. Yep. And Sunday nights at Economy Shoe Shop.
Yep. And then there's a monthly show at Hop Yard as well.
Monthly show at Hop Yard. Follow Durham Laporte for that.
And then a monthly show on Saturdays at Oasis.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they're doing the monthly Saturday shows. That's awesome. So there's the guests that you hear, you could see at a mic or you could see at a show. So fucking come out, would ya? I'm gonna be bugging people every single episode to come out to shows because that's my goal with the show, the podcast. So
go down to the Daily Grind on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. I work there and also tell jokes on my nights off.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, the Daily Grind. I'm really enjoying that as a little mic to do. It's
so intimate because like it's there's no stage light. We use like that like little like bird's nest of like lights that's like right by the back door there, and so there's like 2 like lanes of audience.
That's
like,
right.
Separated by the bar.
Yeah, and what's cool about the open mics too, and I know that like number one, you don't have to pay for the open mics; they're all free.
Mm-hmm.
But you will see a variety of people. Like you will see newbies, you will see people working on new jokes. You will also see pro comics popping in to work on new jokes.
Yeah.
So like you really get a sample. Like it's like the way that I say it is like you'll get a sampler plate of what is here in Halifax for comedy for free, and that's amazing.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
And everyone's a great time. Do not be intimidated by like the large group of comics standing outside of every open mic show, like smoking cigarettes and like talking about their bits. It's usually much more room inside.
That's right. Go in and sit and be part of the crowd because we need crowds.
Yeah. It's pretty devastating to do a new set in front of a room full of just comics when they all have such high standards.
I haven't done that yet. It's very intimidating. I can't imagine.
It's a bit intimidating, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, bud, thanks so much for coming on. We're gonna end this fucking episode, but you get to ring the bell. There we go.